Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally here. Stark Media Combat Sports, and the winter season of high school athletics is upon us. We're here inside of North Canton High School in the campus of North Canton Local Schools. I'm TJ Downing, joined by Jim Bostic, Sonny Marchette, and Jamie Fausnight. And we are here for the Stark County Wrestling Preview. And I'll tell you what, guys, couldn't come any sooner. We're on the backside of fall sports. The football championships are going to be inside of Tom Benson Stadium this week, but right when that finishes on Saturday, we turn our attention, Jim Bostic, to what is going on right here now. Winter sports, wrestling, basketball, the season. Happy Thanksgiving to all my guys here right now,
yes,
right?
sir,
Happy
brother.
holidays to
Me too.
everyone.
Well, TJ.
And everyone, remember that high school athletics here on the Stark Media live streams, always presented by our good friends at the Eagles FOE 190 and Hilsher Clark Electric Company. As I turn things over to my guy, Jim Bostic, I'll tell you what, Jim, we have some high-end wrestling on hand for everyone tuning in this year, this season, how we finished last year. And our wrestlers, let's not turn the attention on to us, because my guy over here, Jamie Fausnight, calling the D2 championships down there inside the shot.
Yes, he was.
You doing historical things, calling the first ever. Had a chance to talk to Doug Ute today, the president, the commissioner, the guy that runs the Ohio High School Athletic Association. He talked about how historical it was for girls to finally be sanctioned in wrestling and have those state championships last year. You were on top of that with our guy Chris Kali and Wrestle One tournaments. Just talk about it and go wrestling. Yeah, baby.
I'll tell you what, man. Guys, this is so awesome. I told Jamie as we set up, there is nothing better than seeing Resolite on the hardwood, man. I mean, that's just the way it should be. Forget that hardwood. But I'll tell you what, Teej, before we get going, man, we got a new guy joining the team. It's so exciting, man. A legend in his own right. I was coaching back in the day. Of course, with Jamie and I, we've talked a lot about that. Was also coaching. Want to welcome with us Sonny Marchette. Now, Sonny, now say it correctly because I've said it different. Marchette, you got to give it to us. Tell us, Coach, and great to have you with us, brother.
I appreciate it, Jim. Great to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me. This is awesome. It's Sonny Marchette.
Marchette. All right. I will not mess it up again.
I've gone through many times and many names, but Marchette is as good as it gets.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Coach, real quick here, just a quick brief, synopsis of your resume, kind of your journey. And again, the best part of the journey is for you to join the Stark Media team, brother. Again, I just hats off to TJ as he again goes around the area, bringing in the best talent to bring you the sport that we love so much. And as TJ said, not only was it just wrestling last year, he's already got plans. As again, you can hear the name of the division has changed to combat sports. We're going to be bringing you MMA. So, Sonny, I don't know if you're an MMA expert. We'll hear here in a moment. But and also possibly some boxing around the corner. But please, Sonny, share a little bit about your resume. And again, I remember you back in the day, and you, brother, were a hammer.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Resume-wise, I was lucky enough to win a couple state titles and a couple national titles in wrestling. And then MMA, I put my foot forward in it. And, like all MMA fighters and wrestlers, you have your ups and downs. And I'm just glad I was able to do it. And the training with it really helped. And you can see in today's wrestling, actually, the transition. These guys are making big transition into the grappling style. And, I was fortunate enough to have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. Was taught for the last 15 years. And I try to do it all, as far as combat sports in general. Growing up with the Bruce Lee idol.
Yeah, sure.
Like that, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure all of us.
I just watched Enter the Dragon the other night. So you're channeling my inner Bruce Lee spirit, man.
Unbelievable. Like the 60th time you watch it, right? Probably it's even better. So,
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, and me and Jamie, growing up in North Canton as well, right here in, not in this school because this is newer than Jamie and I. We're old now. Right, Jamie?
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, just all around Northeast Ohio, Stark County, you know, I'm obviously familiar with it, and that's why I'm here today with you guys, because coming back to Stark County, even in these regards, as a fan and commentator, I can maybe add a little bit to that list. I really appreciate it. Good to be back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, it's a true pleasure. And I'll tell you what, I'd be remiss, Tej, right? I mean, I'll tell you what, this all started. Sonny, I don't know, I'm sure Jamie shared a little backstory. And again, going to bring in my partner. He was with us, you know, we got to start about a week in. And I remember Jamie texting my buddy Donnie Childers over at Jackson. And he told Donnie, he goes, Donnie, I got to get in on this. What is the deal? And folks, I want to bring him in right now. I'll tell you what, unique as he is, man. I'll tell you what, I jokingly,
he's a storyteller, right?
I just
got
say,
stories to tell.
I joke with him about it, but I'm gonna tell you what, Jamie has some of the greatest memory and stories to bring to the platform, and has done that throughout. Jamie, brother, what do you think, man? Year 2, huh?
Oh, I can't believe it. I was just telling Sonny, I was like, my anniversary will be the holiday tournament here in a couple weeks. You know, that'll be my 1 year.
Right here in this spot.
That is so true.
Wait a minute. Is your wife going to let you broadcast?
Yeah, she don't have to say, I don't think. She doesn't listen. Wow. She doesn't listen, so I get away with whatever.
See what I say, Sonny? See what I say?
You know, it's I couldn't be more excited to dive into year 2, you know. With you look at where we started to where we finished to see where we can go from here is just so exciting. And it's just a matter of bringing wrestling to people who can see it. You know, we don't just do Stark County. We did D2 regional, D3 regionals last year. We did, we did the what we just do, the Iowa State.
We did Top Gun. We saw Aiden Mazen. We just saw his mom up here, Becky. I mean, we did Top Gun to see Aiden.
You guys did D2 finals, right?
Yeah, we did all the finals.
School,
right?
I
did
we did
D3
finals for college. It did
right up there at Case Western.
Yep.
And shout out to our guy Malave.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, we did. Jim Bostic was on the girls' mat for the championships in the shot. We had nobody on D1. They put the pretty guys on that one. They reserved D2 for the guy with the bald head and the beard, who is, I think, is a very good looking dude, right?
Can't argue that.
He was on there with our guy. Was it Kent Infantaglia?
Yeah.
Right, a longtime referee. He's been around the sport a long time. Right, they had a great broadcast of it, and then on D3, probably the hardest mission of them all. My guy, the Pope, right? Me and John Lowry called the D3, and I'll tell you what, some of the memories from that for me, and I really got to say a couple things here. First, on the backside of your introduction of our guy, Jamie Fausnight over here, I got to say, the one thing that really stuck out to me last year was just the respect that people had for not only him when he walked into certain places like Medina or over there at up at Case West, or if we're over there in Alliance, or we're right here inside of North Canton, when we got a chance to call his own son in a match, to be impartial, calling a match that features your offspring. Right. He did that. He did a phenomenal job, but to see the respect that he got from people and say, hey, my kid was dungeon trained under you, and you know, the revere, again, respect that people had for him, and you too, Jim. I mean, what you guys have not only brought to this sport around here locally in Stark County and Northeast Ohio, you guys changed my feelings. Now, I think I mentioned to you on the broadcast when we did our our high school football weekly show.
Absolutely.
I said I have been waiting for winter
TJ
and wrestling.
Drank the Kool-Aid, man.
I drank.
We got him, son. We got him, brother.
I'm hooked, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
You see it all the time.
We see it all the time. And as far as like, you know, being respected or things like that, you know, we all, you know, we were coaches. We pushed our kids extremely hard. We cranked out, you know, I would like to think high-level wrestlers. And, you know, the respect is always mutual. You know, you're always going to have a couple people that may not necessarily see it the same way you do, but after, you know, you come to a gym like this, and even somebody, I remember standing again on the opposite end of a mat screaming at Jim here and a couple of things, you know, but as soon as that match ends, the respect is there and it's all over, you know, and I'll tell you, that's a part of like our sport where it's not like baseball where there's a million dads coaching. There are your share dads, but there are real wrestling coaches that are out here that put that time in with the youth and with the middle school and things like that. So, you know, that's why this area flourishes in wrestling. That's why it's a hotbed for high school wrestling and things of that nature.
It is the oldest and greatest sport. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is absolutely.
Okay.
Did not Jacob square off right there? Wrestle
Listen,
the
listen,
Lord,
so-
baby.
so-
Go clear back to biblical
You are
times.
So
correct, sir. This is
Jim
the greatest.
Bostic and Jamie Fausnight got me to drink the Kool-Aid, but back in high school, Milkovich could not get me to drink the Kool-Aid because I came out for about 2 or 3 days, ran around the entire inside of Glen Oak High School on 44th Street, knew every step, every stair, every hallway, and
It's easier to drink the Kool-Aid with a headset on than wrestling shoes. I'll tell you that. If you get pulled out of the hallway because you're a big football player, it's a little easier to drink the Kool-Aid with a headset on.
And as I've told you before, as great of a football player as I was, the toughest dudes I ever had to compete against, Jim Bostic, were defensive linemen that were great wrestlers.
Knew how to wrestle.
Going against a guy like Luke Fickle.
Oh, my gosh.
Luke Fickle, right?
Yeah.
Guy played with one arm in the Rose Bowl, but he won 3 state championships on the mat, I think at 2 different weights, if I'm not correct, at the sales.
I think it was 3. We did this last year. We looked it up. I
He
Googled it. I
won
think he
2
won
at
it
one
a
weight,
3.
and then he went up the next
Yeah.
year and won at another weight.
Heavyweight was what he
Just an
graduated.
absolute animal. I had a
Senior year, just a little pinned his way through the entire tournament. Pinned his way from the first sectional match to the state title. So
I had a guy in practice who came in as a freshman when I was a senior at Ohio State. I'm playing at the highest level of my life. And it was Dexter Larimore from Marysville or Martins Ferry somewhere. And he was an AAU national champion heavyweight wrestler coming out of high school. He gave me more fits in practice than any game I played on a Saturday. Tell me why.
Well, I mean,
Had to be what I'm
Position.
seeing right here.
I'm-
Hands,
I've told you
position,
before.
leverage, all of it.
but it goes into more than that because that all comes second nature after you wrestle your whole life. It to me, it's a wrestler's not going to get rattled after one play in a football game. He's going to come back harder. He's going to get ticked off. He's going to come back stronger and faster and harder every time. You know, in a wrestling match, you know, when you go solid for 6 minutes straight in comparison to a 12-second play, you know, it's the recovery time in football is ridiculous. You know, these guys, what they put themselves through before they get to that level is just their motor is different.
And I think every football player would probably agree. Maybe not. But being one-on-one is probably the difference, right? Team
Yeah.
sports. We all watch probably Ohio State, Michigan this weekend and gathered around to see the team. But there it sends chills individually when you watch an individual wrestle another human being. Similar to what we're watching here. Got a pretty good match over here with the girls.
no, I'll tell you what,
Looking
you're
for
right.
a pin, and
No, you're
these girls aren't playing today here
No,
either.
no, you're,
Those are the 2 premier teams
Good.
in the county there.
I've been
is
watching it.
Alliance and Minerva there.
Yeah,
Probably the fullest teams. I saw a Perry girl walking around.
whoever's
it's
teaching
growing.
that girl's team is doing a pretty good job. I see her running a half
Oh,
spiral right there, running, and
You know, I'll
there
tell
is a
you,
difference though.
Yeah,
there is a difference.
There is. The girls are a little
flexible.
more flexible on the shoulders.
You
It's
see 'em.
hard to run those halves because a lot of potentially dangerous
yeah.
calls happen.
They're tough.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, you're joining Stark Media's live video broadcast of the Stark County preview right here at North Canton High School. Again, TJ Downing, Jimmy Fausnight, Sonny Marchette, and Marchetti, I'll get it right, and Jimmy B bringing in live action tonight. We hope that throughout the night we're going to have a chance to some of the coaches, maybe get some wrestlers up here online and let you hear a little bit from them as we get ready for this 2023-24 season. No, you're spot on, guys, right there on Matt. I'm not sure what Matt that is, 3-4 right there in the middle. But
That's
as
Matt
Jamie
3.
said, that's Alliance and a Minerva, 2 of our top women's teams here. In fact, in the corner for Alliance, you know, you talked about the coach there, Sonny. That's Dane Johnson. Dane is actually our USA Ohio women's coach. So he takes the women's team out to Fargo's, done a nice job. We've watched our women's
You
team
can
grow
tell. Yeah, then you can
throughout,
definitely tell. They're doing a
absolutely.
great job there.
throughout the state. So
She's got that girl on her back, but she is refusing to go. That's for sure. This other team's pretty good too.
And you know, looked at the lineup here. I know we both kind of took a look at the program here, and of course, all not every team yet represented with a women's team. I know that Northwest is doing a nice job. They've actually put about 3 more girls on their team. Art Kali, of course, the head coach over there, and had a chance to do a little in the room session with him last year. And again, folks, we will be doing our In the Room segment. I think Jamie might be talking about a segment he's thinking about putting together here, getting us a little extra content.
Ooh, hey, give us a hot take.
Well, I think
Start
that
Media
there's
exclusive.
a couple different things that are in the works. One thing is we might have a hot mic down on the floor. We might be able to interview some wrestlers and coaches right after the matches. One thing that I really fell in love with at Top Gun last year is we just had some parents and kids on the team, or from Carrollton jump on. We might do a little bit more of that. Is just have like
Wait,
a
are we
couple
gonna have
moms
Larry?
and dads.
Are we gonna have Jenkins
We don't
again?
need Larry Jenkins' mouth.
Come on,
here.
man.
I was texting Larry Jenkins today. Heck yeah, he can always jump on.
He did a great job last year for us. Jamie, I still think back to last year. I think when I officially drank the Kool-Aid was the night that we were down there in Carrollton.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was Carrollton and Minerva in the black hole.
Yeah.
Right? And the girls starting it off, the guys finishing it off. It was competitive. There was the energy in the gym was crazy.
yeah. It was a packed house. You should see Carrollton's gym these days. I mean, it's awesome for a wrestling venue. The crowd is nuts. What's funny is we were just talking about the ladies. Carrollton was Larry Jenkins was telling us that they just put out a flyer at school like, hey, any girls interested in wrestling? And 22 girls showed up.
Wow.
Like, it was nuts. And they didn't see that coming at all. They thought they'd have like 2 or 3.
Anymore, I'm not surprised. I really would, but today I'm really not surprised. The girls are showing up, and that's what it is, Jamie. The girls are showing up, and not just showing up. Actually, they're showing out. They're showing up and showing out.
The thing about wrestling is that it takes all different types of people. You have your brainiac kids that are super smart, that are students of the game. You have your guys like me, lunkheads, that'll go out and try to win a street fight. You have all those different kinds of kids. But what wrestling does is you fall in love with the training. And like when we wrestled, when we came up, you knew you weren't going to go to the NBA. You knew you weren't going to go to the NFL. You knew you weren't going to the major leagues. You did it because you loved it. You knew there was no like accolades at the end of the tunnel. It was just something you did because you were passionate about it.
I was drilling today, Jamie. Actually, about
Wait a minute. You were drilling, getting ready for the broadcast.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Sonny never stops.
No, I did. That was probably about 2.5 hours ago, and then actually limped in here today. Jamie
he
caught
got a
me.
cramp. I almost had to give him a piggyback ride in here.
You're not supposed to say anything on the
We're
air
not
there.
spring chickens anymore.
No, not at all. I'm gonna blame it on the cold weather.
Oh yeah,
I like
that works.
I like that. Now, Sonny, I know you looked down. Of course, TJ had the camera over there for a moment, showing that Glen Oak Maslin match that's happening right below us. One thing with Glen Oak, I'll tell you what, I know TJ, of course, a Golden Eagle. Someday he'll show you the Eagles landed. I knew he was going to do it. But how coaches really brought that program around. I'll tell you what, look at the numbers, right? I mean, years back, people were talking about, wrestling's dying. Number one, we knew our youth numbers were always big. There's some areas that we do have some concerns. But I saw you smile when that pin and the kids exploded, man. I mean, there's no great.
He was losing. He was losing. That's the other equalizer that's wonderful about our sport. As long as the clock's still ticking, you can still win. And I think that's the greatest lesson of our sport. In baseball, there's run rules and all that stuff. If you still have a chance, you can win at any time. Mm-hmm. And no other sports really do that. You can be down. If you're down by 30 in a football game, you can't win. I mean, you can, but you can run out of time. In wrestling, it just in an instant, you can flip that over, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you won. And that never say die attitude is also something that probably played a part in those guys being tough and hard-nosed dudes when they got to Ohio State and pushed you around a little bit.
Hey, listen, go ask Frank Reich about coming down from 30 points when they beat the who was the
I've seen it.
Bills. Right, listen, it happens, but
I watched
you
that
sound
whole
like
game.
our guy John Lowry last year. He would always say the ultimate equalizer, right? You have the opportunity to be able to pin somebody. You're down by a certain amount of points. Boom, get that ended any time. I mean, I got to ask you guys real quick, though, before I get out of here, because I'm going down to the mat, and I'm going to get some inside footage for you on Stark Media social media feeds. Check out Stark Media at Stark Media Team on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm going to go down there and get you some footage. One thing, I'm going to talk about Cody Fair, because as we're on the backside of football here and the state championships coming up, Make sure if you're coming in Thursday night, we're going to do the Massillon Hoban game. We're going to be there. Jamie, you're going to be there. Hey, Sonny, if you want to come too, you can come. Jim, you're going to be there. Massillon Hoban, they're going to square off
Thursday.
I want you guys to tell me what it's like for a guy like Cody Fair, who is leading this team, who I think is going to finally win a playoff state championship. And for him, what I saw, Jim, what we saw in that try match over there at Kansas City, when he went head to head with Aiden Mosden, and we just talked to his mom, right? Him and Aiden battled out for what, 3 plus another 3? They went 6 total, right?
Yeah, I mean, overtime.
It just was a banger. 2 of the toughest dudes you will ever come across. And for Cody coming off the backside of football, as everybody else has been training, for at least legit practice started 2-3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
But you train all year round. These guys that do this all year round, but Cody comes out here and just bangs right on the backside of football after doing 16 weeks of football. They don't even do 16 weeks at Division I college football.
Right.
So what's it like for him? And I mean, really, what I saw from the girls last year, what Elena Jackson did.
So TJ, if I understand that correctly, you're saying a football player, how did he transition into wrestling after a full season like that? Is that correct?
Right, because he's probably half-assed coming off a football season. He's not
There's only
wrestling
one
trained.
answer.
He's not wrestling trained yet, right?
There's only one answer, TJ. Is he a football player or a wrestler? He's a wrestler.
but even at that,
you guys both know Cody.
Even
you
at
guys
that,
both know Cody
even
well.
at that,
Tell
even
me,
at that, in peak physical football form, you go into the wrestling room and you're going to die your first day.
Oh, okay. Tell me, you guys both know Cody.
It's going to take a good 3 weeks.
Is Cody a wrestler or is he a football player?
Okay,
is he?
You guys ask.
Because I don't know. I think he's a really good football player.
I'll say this.
But I think he's also a pretty maybe good wrestler.
I
think maybe he's a better football player.
There's a lot of wrestlers that play football and choose to play football. He could. But his mentality.
What's his biggest upside to Jamie and Jim? You guys have covered him on both sides. What's his biggest upside?
He's a very athletic big guy.
I was going to say Cody's an athlete.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So he can step in either arena and perform. If you're gonna make me pick
what's
a
his
sport,
collegiate
he's a
upside?
super
his
athlete.
collegiate upside is football, in my
Okay.
opinion. What I've seen, but I don't disregard what Sonny's saying. Sonny has seen enough of it and knows because of that
He may
athletic.
be right here.
No,
He's in the left side.
we
of the
know.
chest as a
That's all.
wrestler.
We know that's
That's
there.
what
And he carries that over the
that
football
dude
field.
has got a heart.
He lost a first-team All-Ohio linebacker who's going to Bowling Green as his sidekick. On the defense, it may be the best defense Massillon football has ever seen.
Their dog.
And they haven't missed a beat
because
of Cody Fair.
I like that Michael Wright dude, too.
Because
I like to see him
like
around a
him.
wrestling singlet.
But here's what I'm going to say.
JP Simon said Mike Wright Jr. is the strongest high school athlete he's ever seen. And his only downside is that he's 6 foot.
Yeah.
Or else
but
if
I
he is
think-
6'4", you can
Right.
have a
I
scholarship
think that
anywhere
goes
in the
back
country.
what you talked about,
Same
Teej, what
as
you
me,
experienced down at Ohio State. It's his years of wrestling that have made him, I believe, the top echelon football. Not that others that don't wrestle are not great football. We know they are. But any of you football players out there that are listening, any of you coaches, dads, moms that have, all I hear, and back in the day when I coached, high school coach, well, I'm going to go to the weight room, coach. I can't wrestle. Well, I don't want to lose weight. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. Guys, I'm telling you, you want to be a better football player, come out for a wrestling season, suck it up, give it a chance. No one says you have to lose weight. You come out, you will because you will because
but it's
of the
good weight. It's
but
good
you're
weight
gonna,
to lose.
and it's going to make you stronger and faster and a better athlete. The hand fighting, the footwork, the hip control. You want to be a better football player, get on a wrestling mat. I'm going to say that right now, and I'll stand by it forever.
Well,
and I think that's one big thing why Cody does as well as he does.
Speaking of the kids of this generation, right? I mean, we all talked about what we've all done in the past, which is great. But I tell you what, it kind of hard to stacks up to some of these kids today. I see some super athletes all around that. To be honest, I think if they competed in our generation, would just be right.
They wouldn't survive.
they
But-
didn't know we could learn technique like we taught these young kids.
Right.
Also, you
Maybe
know?
it's a nastiness thing. I don't know if there's the same type of nasty
No,
attitude
no.
as there used to be.
It's not. They're more technical.
You don't have killers out there like Meisner, right? You don't have guys like
Well,
out there like
it-
right?
Yeah, it was a lot. Well, information, changed that because it was just tougher to get. Everybody hid the information, right? You guys know.
Nutrition, weightlifting,
Right.
keeping your body. I don't know about you guys. I was a dumbass back in the day when I would jump, 20 pounds overnight after
Yeah.
a
Oh,
weigh-in.
yeah,
I mean, that did nothing but tear your body apart. Kids, I think, like you're saying,
Yeah.
Sonny, much smarter. They look at the information, the media that's out there for them to find
The
to make them
exposure.
healthier.
They
thus
I remember
better
going to
athletes.
Walt Tolarchuk's house and going right to his basement, when I was at North Canton. And Jamie, I know as well because we sat there together many times watching old school VHS tapes of Russians.
right.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's because how did he get it? I don't know. We didn't know.
VHS. Now it's in people's pockets.
Right.
I sit and
So
watch wrestling.
You had to be
technique all the
really
time.
dedicated. And I think that's where the hunger came from, TJ, that you talked about the nastiness.
Yeah.
We went extra levels just to get the information.
Yeah,
And then once
yeah.
we got it, I think we appreciated it a little bit more. And so we protected it to where today it's just a little more free.
Yeah.
So
can I
they're learned, they're smart, but again, maybe the old school nastiness, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see it anymore. Kids are different nowadays. I'll just leave it at that. But can I be the Debbie Downer here real quick and talk just about
this
something?
is combat sports. We're not
no,
downing at all.
No, something
That's your name.
Right.
The one thing that I have struggled with that I saw from last year, because I'm going to talk about the wins and the losses, just like with everything, Jim, we've done with the SMG network and Start Media and kind of putting this out there to the masses. You have wins and you have losses. As you grow something, you have wins and you have losses, right? When you have a young man who may be cutting 30, 40 pounds, right? Like in the Rulewitz kid. Is it the Rulewitz kid from Glen Oak, who is a 260-pound offensive lineman for Glen Oak, but when he goes down and wrestles, he drops 40, 50 pounds quickly, aggressively.
It's also a kid that loses 8 pounds of practice. You know what you would do to lose 8 pounds of practice?
Oh. Is that a good thing to do?
That's all healthy weight. That the heavyweights are not missing meals.
Okay.
They're losing weight because they're burning calories.
You got to figure too, if that's 30, a wrestler is going to start calculating right away. I already know 10 is already gone in one day because I tried to make 10 being a football player. So you're going to actually go a little bit more above your norm. So right there, I got 20 and I'm going to start cutting at 20 and I take 10 and then my heart, 10 at the end.
Jim, can I tell you, I had this dream, right?
Uh-oh.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a dream.
I
had a dream. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So I had this dream after I saw what Aiden Faulkner did last year, winning the heavyweight championship as a junior, finding out exclusively with Stark Media at the Stark County Awards banquet hosted by Kurt Hamilton and Mr. Don Turner, all them, that he did it with one arm. He did it with a torn labrum, right? And I had this dream seeing Aiden Faulkner as a defensive end or a defensive tackle out there on the field. Just a guy like him to have the heart to be able to do that, right? Nobody knew. I didn't know.
All we knew is he had it taped. You didn't know the level of damage.
You basically won the heavyweight state championship at the Division I level in Ohio with one arm, right? True. What does that say about the kid?
I mean, obviously, I've known Aiden since he was probably in about 5th grade. He is a super tough kid, but I will also say he's not taking as many shots. He's not taking as many risks as a 130, a 138 pounder. Now, don't get me wrong. He's in there in those underhooks and he's moving bodies. But you can also, those labrums and those shoulders hurt a lot more when you get extended rather than being right here and staying tight. So he can kind of get away with that a little bit and kind of keep his injury from getting a whole lot worse because he's a smart kid that has tons of wrestling under his belt. So he knew how to wrestle and how to keep himself out of harm's way.
There's only one heavyweight that probably competes at the level that you're saying, which is Gable Stevens.
Oh yeah, like
Right.
I mean, and
Other than
I'll
that,
tell you though, what's funny is the heavyweights are almost all coming back. Like that heavyweight from
heavyweight's
Wadsworth.
exciting right now.
Yeah,
it is.
It really.
Reese,
'cause
right?
they don't-
Reese
Yes.
is back this year, right?
But I
Yeah.
will share, guys, one that is not coming back. That's a little bit of a heartbreak. Is our boy from Lake, Anthony Miller, is not returning this year.
Oh,
He has decided that it's going to be strictly getting ready for the Air Force Academy, play football.
Good
And
stuff.
Supus and I talked. Quit pumping your hand over here, Mr. Football Player. I
Hey,
seen it.
Hey, no, I'm pumping my hand. You know
I'm
why?
just jacking
Because
you,
of what
dude.
we saw Anthony Miller
Jim
do
don't
here
play,
inside.
does he?
Hey, what did we
I'm
see?
spreading out over here.
What did we see Anthony Miller do inside of this gymnasium
I know.
last year at Districts?
I know.
When he defeated Colton Arnold.
Yep.
To punch his ticket down there
Had
to the
been
shot.
beat by Colton 3 times,
Pinned-
I believe,
pinned
earlier
all
than
three,
that.
I think.
Yes.
I got respect
Pinned
for
all
that.
three.
No, I know.
Big
dude.
time.
No, Supus and I, JR Supus not here with us. One of our other teammates not here. We talked a lot about that, and I really questioned him. I said, JR, what's the story? And he goes, nah, man, he just figured that, his ride, his money is going to be at the Air Force Academy playing football. He just didn't want to take a chance. And he was beat up a little bit on football. So he wanted to take time to recover from that and then prepare for the other. So, again, like you talked earlier, Sonny, a lot of respect for these guys, a lot of respect for those decisions. And, he'll be missed. He'll definitely be missed.
Now, is it Jimmy B? Is that now, since we're correcting names, Jimmy? Is,
Diaper
TJ.
dog. Diaper dog.
what-
It's diaper dog.
what's correct here? Is it Jim?
Jimmy B.
Jimmy B?
Jimmy's
I've heard a few.
Hey, Jim, talk about the in the room we got coming up tomorrow night.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, the in the room session, we're going to continue that this year. And our first session, we're actually going to head up to Norton High School. We're going to
Very nice.
interview actually a young man I coached into a state championship. Wasn't me, my coaching that did that by any means, Mr. Dan Stats. Interesting story. Danny was there for many years. Of course, Norton's second state champ. They've only had 2. And had left, actually stepped away, went back to Northwest where he teaches. And some circumstances this year up at Norton, they made a choice to retool the coaching staff. They asked Danny to come back. So I think it's going to be an interesting story to hear.
You absolutely
stepping
can't
away
find a
and
better
stepping
guy.
back. Oh, no, Danny's
He's such a good guy.
Danny's top shelf. So we're excited about that. Some other coaches we've talked to, we're going to try to hit some of the schools we haven't hit from last year. I talked to Coach Wesky on my way in over at Massillon. Coach Villers over at Lake. So we're going to try to get out and about and pull, as Jamie said, pull that curtain back in the practice room and let some of our fans
Peel the
hear
onion,
and
man.
Yeah.
You got to peel the onion,
peel
right?
the onion.
Well, that's also where the Kool-Aid is too, Jim, and the people, right? That's where the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You just can't find people like this at your local grocery store. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You're not going to find that.
Well, it depends. It depends what grocery store
Yeah.
you're going
They're not
to.
there during wrestling season.
Good call, Jamie.
You guys are a different breed, man. I love it. I love it.
GNC.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, you're joining TJ Downing, Jamie Fausnight, Sonny Marchette right here in North Canton Gymnasium as we are giving you the first look of 2023-24 high school wrestling at the Stark County Preview. 2 sessions here this evening. You're viewing session number 1 right now. Session 1 featuring the women's. They are on the center mat where they should be. Glad to see that. And great to see Sonny. You talked about this earlier. You saw a young lady with a Perry uniform. She's actually wrestling right now down there. So keep an eye. One of the first Perry women wrestlers I think I've seen ever
Might be the first
coming
one.
out. I think she's number 1.
I had my on this Glen Oak team, and you mentioned to me earlier, and
The numbers.
I just want to come back to that for a second. They're doing a great job with this team as far as team camaraderie, and that's why I smiled, because look at them. They're being noticed right now.
Who is it, Mike Hine? Is it Coach Mike?
Yeah, we got to talk with Coach. I really, and I'll tell you, Sonny, when I stepped away, I was still working with the youth. Glen Oak was really down. Now their youth was really starting to grow.
Right.
And Jamie, you remember.
Yep.
But to see what I see across there, what you're speaking about,
That's why I
Sonny,
smiled.
I mean,
'cause
dude,
that's what I love.
absolutely. We need kids participating.
Yeah,
And
good group.
they're all
Good job,
excited
Leno.
when their teammate wins. You can hear them erupt when one of their guys gets the pin and things like that.
That's probably one of the most exciting things I do love about this sport is,
Yep.
is what we're seeing down there right there with the team, because there's nothing like getting confidence as a kid
It builds
when you got
Yeah.
30 of your teammates just pushing you out there to watch you.
And sometimes, you get some of the kids, right, that don't participate in those team sports. They got to find where do they fit in?
Yeah.
Where's that sport? Obviously all three of us little guys, right? We knew we were, even though I think you guys probably played football.
Guy?
I did not you. I looked to my left. You're to my right. Now you're different.
But I look at Jamie like a big guy.
3-year letterman in
I look-
football.
bad
boy, right?
That's what I'm saying.
2-year starter at defensive
no
end.
joke.
So
I might be short, but I'm not
TJ
little.
I look at Jamie like a big guy. Hey, he's a defensive tackle now, man. He's a nose guard.
And now let's
He's a
move on to
fireball.
another topic. Let's go back
I was
to
6'4" away from being a D1 football player too.
Just a few away. But no, I just
I'm
think
6'3.5.
But as you talked about, Jamie, just also the different personalities, but to bring them together. And again, though individual, our sport is a team sport. I mean, it really, truly is. And it truly is a family atmosphere. I mean, again, how many times, brother, you walk through, you see a guy, you don't even know, you find out he wrestled. There's a different bond that immediately connects.
Oh, if
when
I
you know
see
you put that
cauliflower
stuff
ears,
on.
the conversation's going to be had.
Yeah,
I never even think twice. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Where'd you wrestle? Now it's a little different. Now they're jiu-jitsu guys' ears are all
no, you're
jacked
right.
up, but they've been through the same grind. So there's
Because now we
mutual
get the
respect.
opposite, which is, hey, are you a MMA fighter?
Right.
And you're right.
No, I've been beat up and never in a cage.
Yeah.
Well, and
But you
I
get
did
respect on those.
I
either
wanted
way
to go
with you.
back to that, Sonny. You mentioned that, of course, your experience there. Also, as you had said, you prolific in jiu-jitsu, did some grappling. Don't hear a little bit about those sports and how they made you, help to, A, make you the wrestler you were, B, what you then took with you as you trained and then trained others. We look for recruiting tools. Back in the day when I was a head coach, that was back, 85 through, that era back then. MMA really wasn't that big, right? So we're trying to find ways to, I remember creating promo videos and had a TV and a VHS tape set up, trying to bring kids in. But I mean, coaches are trying to find ways. And Jamie talked about this in our Cleveland State, Iowa State match about how now when you see these MMA fighters, most of your resume on some of those prolific fighters, they've wrestled at some point in time in their career.
Yeah.
Is that true?
The training transitions very easily, what these young guys go through. And to be honest with, Sonny and I are about the same age. And to be honest with you, like the mixed martial arts missed us by a couple of years.
Well, Jamie, me and you played with it. That's why we were a little different, to be honest.
We had speed bags. We had speed bags in our wrestling room.
Honestly.
We had speed bags, and me and Sonny were as competitive as all get out.
A lesson, Sonny. Don't throw him softballs.
What do you mean we're different?
Yeah. We did.
Sonny would hit that speed bag for like an hour after practice.
Yeah.
Like we loved it, but realistically,
I am man enough to admit it that I was not capable of doing this sport.
You were
in high school. No, I'm sure I probably was, but it wasn't for me.
You're one of us, TJ. I can see
you.
it.
But at a
I can already see
certain
it.
age, I was a late developer in the conditioning aspect of things. I was a young man as I was growing, developing in my body, going through a lot of growing pains that I didn't like to run. I didn't like to sprint.
Man,
I
you
didn't
said
like
a
the
great thing
distance.
there, TJ.
I want to get on the bench. I want to do squats. I want to do hang cleans, but I'm not really into the whole running thing. And ultimately, to be a Division I All-American in college football, you have to learn how to love that. And I learned how to love it. I ran every step in Ohio Stadium from AA deck all the way up to C deck around the entire thing because I wanted to be the well-conditioned athlete at the end of the fourth quarter. And that's is more of a wrestling mentality.
Yeah. That's a wrestler.
So it took a while for me to love that. Like I said, Milkovich had me out, Jim, for 3 days.
I got a debit
and
card.
I ran every hallway, every step, every stair. And at that time, it just wasn't for me. I was, and I appreciate
Jamie
it more
and TJ have heard this story, Sonny, and TJ says he would have, but I don't know if I believe him. So as I was moving from coaching into the administration, right, in schools, that's what my career was in education. I did have an interview with Glen Oak, and I, went through it, had 2 interviews, and AD calls back. He says, Jimmy, he goes, we'd really like to offer you a job, but I can hear you're ready to move to administration. We want to build a program. We think you'd be great. You have everything that we want, but, I said, nah, man, I get it. No problem, right? So I'm down at the state tournament that year, and I wonder who they hired, right? So I opened the book up, right, and there's, Tom Milkovich. I'm like, yeah, Jimmy Bostic, Tom Milkovich. Yeah. Now, TJ said had Jimmy B been there, he'd have wrestled.
Yes,
right? I don't know if I believe
you and
that
I
or
would have
not.
gotten you and I, you would have gotten me.
We would have.
You would have understood me.
I would have.
Listen, you don't need to run this much. Just
Yeah.
be the tough guy.
I was coaching
But
then.
I
I would have taken care of you.
Yeah, right. You would have got me in the third period. You would have gassed me out, and I'd have been done.
You know
I'd have
what?
been gassed.
It would have been a hard road because it wasn't footwork that, or he wasn't, road work that. It would have been ugly what I'd have done. Yeah,
you gonna learn
I
something
beat
today.
up some heavyweights.
You would
Their
have probably
moms,
grappled.
their
gonna learn
moms would
something
come
today.
home and be like, "He loves wrestling, but why is he coming home with black eyes?" And I'm like, "You signed him up as a sophomore. I don't have a lot of time. I'm just trying to get him tough, And
This is going to hurt for a minute.
Yeah. And it worked. It worked.
You talk
He knew
about
it was out of love.
You talk about the weight room and how that has changed, but I'll tell you what has really come around these last few years, and you guys maybe can speak, is functional strength training.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're going, maybe not, the weight room's always there, the bar, the barbells, the dumbbells, the lat pull down, but you see a lot of teams anymore that are out there, with wheelbarrows, heavy bags, medicine balls. The training and the conditioning, a little bit different.
A lot more circuit training.
I think we might have been at the worst in our age of the actual weightlifting because it was pretty much pyramid, and that's about it. Right?
Yeah,
it's true.
You went from 10 down to your max down to 2 and 2
Right.
back up to 10, and you thought you were doing something. But today's
I
technology is
lifted in the
amazing.
spring, played football and wrestled. I didn't lift at all. We didn't lift in season.
We didn't.
Now they do,
And you have to.
You have to.
Yeah. Now the training is it's just been enhanced so much.
What's that
Like you
training
said.
look like for wrestling? Is it more of the lighter weight, higher reps to build that depth in the muscle? It's not
For the
really,
most
but I
part,
mean,
yeah.
when you're going heavier weights for solo reps, you're bulking. You're more into the can I do 225 pounds?
Well, TJ, I think it's
20
more
times
individual now, right?
Yeah.
Because even coaches have gotten better. They're wiser with the information as well.
And again, it's more accessible.
Correct.
Like you can just
Teach
print out.
easier.
You can just print out Ohio State's wrestling workout program.
Right.
It's everything's accessible now, where it wasn't back then.
Yeah.
Now, guys, take a look over Matt far side there where Lake's at. I see the young man back. Now, I just looked at their lineup. Oh, that's Tuslaw.
Tuslaw.
All right, that's Tuslaw
McKinley.
there. Now, I did look down through the Lake lineup. Now, Anthony is actually listed on their roster. So, maybe some of that information has changed. And you guys both know, right? Sometimes, once the season starts and you had the boots on for 3 years, it's tough to give up that last one. So maybe we'll see Anthony before it's over. I don't know.
He shouldn't be that hard to spot. He's the only guy as tall as TJ in this place.
Yeah.
Now, that guy from Tuslaw is pretty daggone big there, brother.
How about a shout out talking about Kansas City schools to our boy Jason Blackston, who gives us all those great football stats as a math
my
teacher
gosh.
at McKinley. And he's now been promoted in the offseason here to head wrestling coach for
Very
McKinley,
nice.
right? Zach Blackiston's father, Jason
All
Blackiston, math teacher there at Kansas City
You
schools.
are absolutely correct.
Great dude, man.
Looking at
Great
the
dude.
coaches here for our Stark County teams, Jason is the head coach of the McKinley Bulldogs.
How about his son Zach, man? Was he not a beast? Now, he was one of those guys, never won state, qualified 3 or 4 years, and set the all-time sack record for Heidelberg College.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
For a career. So he took the wrestling over to defensive end and just
Oh, yeah.
dominated Jim
Absolutely.
Bostic.
I'll tell you what, not a wrestler, but I'll tell you what, and again, guys, obviously student athletes, right? Promoting student first, then athlete. TJ, what you shared with me, I know you like to drift back into the football realm, but Keaton Rohde, can you share a little bit what you told me about Keaton as far as some of the academic honors that young man? Well, I think you were telling me about that.
Yeah, a lot of times we see a student athlete focusing either on the sport or the academics, but to be able to do them both, Keaton was like a 4.5 or a 4.9 GPA. Like back when I was in school, like I didn't think you get higher than a 4.0.
Dude,
And now you're getting 4.9s.
that kid is coming out with 3 associate degrees
There you
in
go.
college.
I mean,
Is
unbelievable.
that insane?
The game has changed, though, Jim. I mean, you were a longtime administrator at Norton. What it's like now compared to what it was, and a lot of it has to do with social media and all the technology, and it's different for kids now. And I think going, Sonny, back to what we talked about, maybe these kids aren't built as tough as what we all once were. Because
the discipline
of
is
some
still
of
there,
these,
though.
the discipline may still, I don't know. Maybe it's not, because I don't think they listen as much nowadays.
You can't be
It's not-
out there if you're not disciplined. These kids have to make weight. They have to watch what they're doing. It's different here. I have.
Well, I think what you see really is an overall, like back in the day, there was maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that were the superstars, right? Your Alan Freed back in my day.
Your
That's
Sonny
who I looked at.
Marchette's, your
People-
Adam
Yeah,
Plouses.
hey, just say yourself. It's all right. You can
You
do
can.
that.
I
man.
will say it because
yeah,
I
yeah.
watched. I don't know if we were coached. Yeah, I think I did, but still, yeah,
No,
we can
but-
say it.
But today, there's a lot of them. There's a lot, like you guys said, the young man, Cody, right?
Cody Fair.
Yeah, there's more. I don't know if there's a lot, but I know there's more. And those kids that we're talking about are tough. They're
Well,
super tough.
How about the Blaze kid, who just beat?
Marcus. Yeah.
He just beat the reigning champion.
Well, no,
Right?
the number
Was it
one ranked kid.
it was Marcus Blaze, right? Or was
Joey
it
or Marcus?
Yeah,
Blaze.
Marcus.
Marcus.
Blaze. There's
and
two of
and
them.
as as a freshman,
Sophomore.
No,
sophomore.
In
no,
high school.
He's
Sophomore
a
in high
sophomore in high school.
So he's a
And he won
sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And
Just
he, and he
wrestled
went
at
to
the
the
Clarion
Clarion Open, and he beat the number one guy in the country.
And by the way,
How about
There were
give a
two
little
high school kids that won that.
information on the Clarion Open. It's one of the toughest opens. It's a Pennsylvania Open in college.
Yeah.
And I don't care what school you are, in PA. If you're hosting
is that like a college version of like the Ironman?
No, it's an open.
No.
It's an open.
It's an
So
Okay,
it's,
so what's the difference with the Open? You can just enter
Sign up,
in.
yep.
You don't have to be invited.
Right.
Okay,
I
all
would say
that.
similar to this, maybe, where it's more. I mean,
Well,
it's
it's
a
an
real,
open
it's
tournament.
real matches. Granted, it's not a preview, but it's more.
it's an open tournament. You sign up, you wrestle.
That's
you
it.
know. It's not with your team necessarily, even though like teams travel together to opens. You know, they do Clarion, they do Michigan State's a big one. Mount Union has a nice little one.
Yeah.
But they're all over. Findlay, I was just at Findlay, University of Findlay last week. They have theirs. I saw you there a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, you talk about, as TJ said, as we look to the season this year, guys, we're going to be out at the Ironman, right? The Ironman going to 3 days this year. They're going to add the women. The women will be a new feature. The women will start on Saturday afternoon. They'll finish up on Sunday. So if you want to see some great action, join us right up there at the Ironman. I think, TJ, the plan, if we get everything lined up with TKDS and that, I am hoping that we're going to have a team down in the lower floor area, and we'll have a team upstairs at the same time. So actually you'll be able to bounce back and forth between the two floors to see all the action. So it's going to be really exciting, guys. I mean, Sonny, I don't know, Jamie, was the Ironman around when you guys were, you
It
were there.
was.
Yeah,
I
it
wasn't
started
invited. There's
started-
an Ironman champ standing here.
You guys
with it.
dating yourself? You guys like dinosaurs over there, man. Like,
I
Jesus.
know.
I thought I
well,
could
Yeah,
connect
they
with you
talk
guys.
like that. Where the hell am I at? Because you're young too. Criminy, darn.
Back then, though,
The
back then it
Stone
was
Age.
legit. Like they invited the top
Well,
10 teams in the country.
I mean, I can talk
The
to these
top
guys
10
about 311.
individuals.
I can talk to you,
You know,
about
it
Pink
was
Floyd. I mean, it's just
it was
different
invite
generations, you know?
I know my stuff about Pink Floyd. You're younger than I am.
Yeah, Jim, it started when I was a sophomore in
Speaking
high
of
school,
which-
so that would have been 1995, I believe, was the inaugural year.
Okay,
And Bill Barger, his brainchild,
that's right.
right? So
Okay.
it was his brainchild
Is it-
because he
was
wanted
the love
to see.
child of John Lowry, or John Lowry was the Barger love child, right?
I'd say no comment, but yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
I hope
yes.
Sonny not all right. Jamie's or John's not listening. Good, he's not chatting.
But yeah, and obviously we had a great team, great,
Oh, yeah,
run that generation. But that's why he did it, and it's just unbelievable. It's still
Tribute
going
to
today, and
Yep.
we didn't think too much about it other than like wrestling the best competition, and now it's a big marvel,
Well,
right, in the sport of wrestling.
Legit, the North Akron Wrestling Club was the first real youth program club team in this area, and it just blew up. I mean, your
Longwood.
dad dragged me to a couple of those because I was a football player wrestling. I remember sitting in my living room, and Sonny and I would be talking to my mom, and she just could, the difference in the way I spoke about wrestling and the difference he spoke about it. I fell way more in love with it when I got to college and did it full time, and then began to coach. Was where my love for it really came from. I like beating people up, and my brother taught me, I was kind of heads above everybody else technically, you know, and pretty decent, you know, bang him in the face kind of guy, you know, but you know, there's just a difference when a guy is like so motivated, and that's one of the things that North Akron Wrestling Club built. And I mean, they didn't just win state titles in at Walsh Jesuit. They won state titles in Coventry. They won state. I mean,
North High School.
There were
Joe Plouse.
There was
spillover.
There was spillover.
Johnny
all
McGee.
over. Yeah, like Coventry were state champs. The
And
same
speaking
year.
of Johnny McGee, he's doing some really good stuff right now. But yeah, I mentioned I talked to Johnny the other day, and TJ. I'll give some good shout outs on Jamie right now, which is you know, a great guy. Jamie is a connector. He's a people connector. That's what he does well. He's the fulcrum point for everybody, right? So anybody I talk to, anytime I mention his name, first thing is, oh, dude, he's.
Hey,
I love Jamie.
Hey, did
right?
you know?
He is. He's a great guy.
Did you know?
I got him all fooled.
I appreciate
you know,
it, Jamie. And one of my best workout partners of all time.
Oh,
As we were sitting
real.
here inside of North Canton High School, I heard
man, how are you?
Bobby Hendry, as he got inducted to the Stark County High School Football Hall of Fame, say that he wore number 42, right?
Hey, ask his dad.
Because Jamie Fausnight wore number 42.
Well, I'll tell you what. It
And
was
he
a long
became one of the
line.
best players ever to come out of North
He
Canton Hoover High
was
School.
Bad
That's
dude.
for sure.
Yeah.
And there was a long line of 42s that were wrestler football players. And I took it from Billy Cure. You know, that's a legit wrestler football player right there. All-American in Michigan.
Yeah.
2-time state champ. There's Mazda's sister
I-
walking.
yeah,
weaving around over
4.9 student, too.
I've been watching
there. Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah, crazy. That's another story. I remember holding you on.
Oh, boy.
I remember holding a 7th grade Sonny Marchette back because he wanted to kill Billy Cure as a senior one time. But
I have no clue what you're talking about now.
Yeah,
Jamie.
all right.
All denied.
I'll deny.
But you know, there was a lot of 42s that came through of 3-year letterman. I was lucky enough to grab that number from Bill, and I remember senior year picture day. This little freshman with curly hair walks by, and I knew who he was. I'm like, nice number, just like Billy did to me. You know, good number, kid. You know, and I used to tell people, I was 42 in high school. My number's retired. You know, and it's just because the kid after me was really freaking good.
All right, Chael.
Yeah.
Chael Sonnen.
Right.
Undefeated.
Right. Yep.
Undisputed.
Well, again, folks, down on Matt there, TJ, I saw him zoom in a little bit on that. The Alliance wrestler, that's Abigail Mazden. I'll tell you what, Abby, last year, we're down to the state tournament for the women. Sad, guys. I don't know. Her brother, Aiden Mazden, again, a state qualifier for Alliance, took a bad injury during football season. Word what is he's not going to be out this season, which is just heartbreaking because I know he sure had his eye
Word on the
focused on a
street
state
is
title.
he was on the campus of the
University of
Roughnecks.
Findlay, yes, sir. You know, when a kid takes an injury like that going into his senior year, you know, I might give a call to a couple of my buddies that are coaches and be like, hey, put this one on your radar. The recruiting letters are probably going to slow down, you know, and I went to the University of Findlay Open, and there was Aiden standing there, and he had a good visit. I am prejudiced. I do love the University of Findlay Roughnecks. I spent me some time there. My mom calls it my 2-year wrestling camp.
Speaking of combat, is he similar to a Mo Miller type kid?
No. But Mo Miller, we will
Speaking
be
of which,
following. Canton McKinley grad. Notre Dame College national champ, right?
No, not a national champ, but he's the second leader and most wins.
Most wins.
Next
Nice.
to Joey Davis. That's how.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, obviously Joey, right?
Right,
4-timer, undefeated. He's got the record, but number 2
And he'll be
is Mo
fighting.
Miller.
He'll be fighting
Multiple 3-time
on
All-American.
the 16th at the Canton Civic Center. McKinley wrestler. Do you remember him?
Yeah, remember the name.
Man, what an athlete! What an athlete! I can't wait to see him.
You're gonna want to remember that name. That's Showtime right
Right.
there.
That's
right,
awesome.
that's Mo Miller. He's that's my
Athlete
boy.
and a half.
We're gonna good chance to see him. I believe it is December 15th,
16th. I believe.
16th. Okay, good chance to go see Mo Miller.
Well, as the guys are talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, Stark Media expanding its range as the wrestling, of course, our start in the combat sports division last year, first season for that. Now we're going to be bringing you wrestling and some MMA work. TJ, I think you had a little bit of potential exclusive there. You talked about hooking up with one of the premier organizations, possibly Stark Media joining ranks there a little bit. Can you share any of that?
I thought you were getting ready to announce that I was going to be getting in the cage and
I
fighting
did
somebody,
too.
man. 'Cause
I really did.
I'm starting to get a little pissed off these days. I think I want to fight somebody. I'm ready to throw down. You know? Okay. No, but I'll tell you what, Cage Thunder, they're doing some really good things. They just had a huge event down there in Millersburg, packed the place. Jamie, I know we've had a chance to talk to Eric Jarvis, his son, Cale Jarvis, quarterback for Lake High School. He is going to be making, not on December 16th.
Debut in February.
He's going to make his debut, but December 16th, they're going to do the biggest thing they've ever done production-wise inside of the Canton Civic Center.
And
the Hall of Fame Fight Night, man, December 16th. It's going to be,
I'll tell you what, it is super cool.
You've been talking up Mo a lot. Like
he's a dog, dude.
Dude, Mo is a dog.
And I'll tell you, there really isn't a cooler venue for those fights. I watched Sonny fight there. And it's such a neat experience, you know, going there, and it's a cool venue. They pack the house every time. This is an area that loves a good fight, you know, so there'll definitely be people there supporting him. It should be a loud crowd. I look forward to being cage side and chopping it up with you guys and watching some fights.
That's at the Canton Civic Center?
Yeah, December 16th.
I fought there a few times. And
so we talked about this a lot last year with when you're going in, you're talking about fighting in the cage, right? When you're talking about going into there, the different skill sets of a BJJ, wrestling, stand-up, boxing, karate, whatever it may be. What is the ultimate one skill set at the top to be successful inside of the octagon? Do you take in there? They've always said wrestling. Everybody said wrestling.
Gives you the ability to decide where the fight goes.
You stepped in there and did it. Is that the truth?
In control, yeah. You know, you can
taking it.
That's not even our word. That's more. That's guys like Joe Rogan and stuff like that.
That's a different world than the stand-up guys. The stand-up guys aren't used to being on their back and rolling around and doing all that.
And probably the other thing is,
and they can't stop a middle school double.
Well, mentality. You got to deal with the wrestler. That mentality is just a different level. And then when you put hands and other things involved, it's going to be pretty dangerous for the other opponent.
Man, another pin for these Glen Oak guys, man. They're all about
got some action over here, man. There's some action going
on.
They're
a fun group to watch.
Far side of the mat, you happen to see Tuslaw, and they wrestled, who'd they wrestle?
That looks like a Tuslaw and Tuslaw over there.
Right, they're going to have a couple exhibition bouts here, but that was rounding up. Now, of course, a preview night, unlike our tournaments, our dual matches, of course, is this is a 1-1-1, so these periods are cut in half. So each wrestler getting a chance to go out and get their feet wet, if you will, here as we get ready to kick off the 2023-24 season. Guys, one thing, and again, it's not down, obviously, in high school. We saw this for the first time. It was very interesting calling it with the Cleveland State, Iowa State match, the 3-point takedown now in college. And I'll tell you what, I got to admit, it was pretty doggone cool.
You know how good
throw the brick. I forgot to bring the brick. Throw the brick.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
It incentivizes feet wrestling. Yeah. That's what we were discussing. One of the things that held Ohio back in PA for years, maybe not so much anymore, was their ability to ride in the mat wrestling that came out of PA. And that's why guys like you, when you were kids, would go over there all the time and wrestle over there. But it incentivizes the feet wrestling, which I think will benefit our Ohio kids. Now, I don't think it's quite the same. I think that we've transitioned a little bit into being a little more mat savvy, but what we were always known for was you were in a war on your feet with an Ohio kid.
Yeah. It's the game's changed. It's a lot more feet action. Points are different. It's going to be interesting to see by the end of the year, how a national title could be determined from this rule change for the year, right?
Bonus
points
going to happen.
Yeah. It's definitely going to happen. And that's a great part too.
I'll tell you what, the Buckeyes are pretty stinking good too. The Buckeyes have a nice team. They're going to be fun to watch the next couple of years too.
Oh yeah. That's a young team too. Anthony Ralph, head recruiter. That's my boy.
He's done a great job.
I tell you what, he is the best in the business when it comes to recruiting. And at Ohio State, he's recruited some of the best young talent that, like you said, is there right now.
Well, session 1 is winding down. Looks like our women have finished up on the center mat. We have a few women yet wrestling here down below. It's good to see. Again, as women's wrestling, again, is starting to grow here in the state of Ohio. And again, it's funny talking with Art Kali last year. We did the in-the-room session out at Northwest. Of course, coming in from Oregon, that's where he did a lot of his coaching and that. He was, he was shocked that Ohio was so far behind the curve as it came to women's wrestling. Yeah. And, to some things that we have seen develop over the last few years to him were just, second nature.
The West Coast did jump out on a little lead with us, but it won't take us long because the quality of wrestling here is a higher level. Now, we always kind of talk about it as, you can take a state champ from California, a state champ from Texas, and they're going to compete at a high level. But you take our district alternate or our state alternates and put them against them, and it's not even close. So the way that these girls, half of them are in a room with all guys, they're going to wrestle dudes. And before you know it, Ohio will catch up very quickly. I have zero doubt about that.
Jim, we just had a chance to get a close-up on that far mat over there. It was our guy, Brad Scarborough, who was officiating that mat. His hair looked perfect. It was impeccable. Like, it doesn't move. It's like Maverick and Top Gun.
Yeah,
right?
the wind wakes up in the morning to blow through his hair.
But talk about the job the officials have. I mean, across all sports in high school athletics, it's kind of a thankless job, and they need more people to step up and do it.
No, absolutely. We talked a lot about that last year, and I know we will again this year, guys, as we go through the various matches. And I know all of us, right? We've either wrestled or coached against matches where you just shake your head with a ref like, what are we doing? But, I'll tell you what, we got to have them, right? And we need good refs. We need refs to come out, participate, learn, grow with the sport. Again, if you have any way to want to get back into the sport, maybe that's your way to come back.
Not everybody can get off work at 3:00 and go to practice every day.
Correct.
This is a great way to still be involved.
A little different from years past, right? I went and did my officiating. I went for a two-day or weekend class, had to go sit through class. Now, again, not that it's the right way, but because we're so in need of officials, not only in wrestling, all of our sports, lacrosse, volleyball, it don't matter. We need officials. All you need to do is get on the OSHAA high school website there. Get on the state high school website. You can go to officiating. They actually have the course right there online. You can take the course, go through the testing assessment. Tough thing is you don't go through a lot of the mechanics. I know that I've talked to a lot of refs here. That's where they're a little discouraged because you don't really get that chance to go through the mechanics of it until you're more or less thrown to the wolves, if you will. But it's what they've had to do to adjust to get folks to come out and officiate. So again, if you've ever thought about that, our officials here tonight, actually, I want to shout those guys out, all donating their time tonight. None of them are being paid for tonight's contest. They just, love the sport so much. I see Mr. Bowman on the far side, Northwest Prodigy there, coaching their youth program at Northwest for many years. Got in, and actually last year, right, James, was his first state tournament.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And
I was excited for him.
Absolutely. Great guy. All these guys, great guys. Jason Atkins, not with us tonight, another member of our team. And I'm looking here because he had sent me some guys. He's already lined up, TJ, to come over and see us. If I can find some of the names here. Actually, you talked about Blaze. So Marcus Blaze, Scotty Burnett, they're both going to join us over at the Ironman for some interview time. He's got the young man from PA that I believe it was that he brought over last year, the young freshman, Jamie. I can't think of it.
Bo Bassett.
Bo Bassett. I think Bo's going to come back and have another chat with us.
Wow.
So, shout out to Jason on that. Really appreciate his hard work. I know he likes to get on the mic, but it's hard when you officiate. But he's always out there promoting the sport, bringing guys, promoting Stark Media.
Was Bo Bassett involved in one of those Blair mix-ups at the Ironman last year? Remember all that?
Was the
who
Texas.
am I thinking of? The
kid from Texas. I can't think of his name.
Ferrari. Angelo Ferrari.
Yeah. Or he did the.
That was awesome.
Or he did.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
But what Bo Bassett did there, and really like the respect that I saw those that compete inside of Ohio for wrestling for that tournament, and for you guys to tell me that you got guys that they may not even place in the state tournament in Ohio, or they may not even win a state tournament, and they don't even play Sarah Ironman.
Well, I tell you,
You know,
what,
it's just different.
Stark County Media, good shout out, because you got two of the premier wrestlers in the entire sport right now, Mr. Blaze and Mr. Bassett.
Yeah.
They're the hot spots right now. They are the talk of the
They
town.
both won that
Bo
tournament.
showed
They
out.
both won the Clarion tournament.
Bo showed out at Ironman.
Hey, so
They
he
both
won.
won that
He
Clarion
won the
tournament.
college tournament as well as a sophomore. Bo Bassett, and I follow him. He's one
all
of the.
over social media.
I tell you what, I'm impressed with the
NIL
kid.
like crazy.
I am impressed with the kid. He knows how to talk. He knows how to teach. He knows what he's doing, and he proves it. He puts himself out there.
I'll tell you, Sonny, last year talking to him, you weren't talking to a 14-year-old young man. You were talking to somebody, an old soul almost, especially in our sport. But you're right, very articulate, extremely intelligent. I forget what, again, 4+ point grade point average, and just a hammer on the man.
Well, they do it all.
How about what we saw out of Carr over there at Perry High School?
Yeah.
And then he recently, I believe, just defeated the number 4 guy in the country. Not sure where from. Carr just defeated
David
top
Hardy,
guy.
the Iowa dude.
David is
how impressive. How impressive was that? What we saw?
Yeah, I mean, David is just. We talked about that, Jamie and I, all of us there at that match. He's just at another level. I mean, David is. You have the upper echelon, and you have a little sliver of guys that are above that upper echelon, and that's where David Carr resides.
Right. That was fun to watch. Cleveland State had their hands full that day.
They sure did.
No, that was a great event. Shout out to Coach McBurney, all those guys for putting on just a great event. And I'll tell you what, I know one of the dual matches will be broadcasting over at, last year, of course, we did the Graham Perry match. Very good match. We are going to be broadcasting the Perry and Brecksville match. So I think that should be quite the match that will be definitely.
A lot of talent, a lot of top talent in that dual meet.
Absolutely. A lot of guys we're going to see in March, making their way out on Saturday night or Sunday night there in the finals. Absolutely. Well, again, ladies,
team.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you're joining Sonny Marchette, TJ Downing, Jamie Fausnight, and Jimmy B right here in North Canton Gymnasium. We're getting ready for round number 2 of the Stark County preview. Your favorite team is out there. Shout them out. Get an eye. We'll kind of move the camera around as best we can here a little bit. Upgraded our technology a bit from last year. So we're excited. We hope that you'll be joining us throughout the season. Now, again, once the season starts, of course, tonight we are on YouTube. We'll always have our YouTube channel, but we will be broadcasting off of TKDS. You will need to register online for that. There is a small monthly fee to be part of, but once there, you can pick up any broadcast that TKDS is doing throughout the state. So if you're focused here in Northeast Ohio, great. Want you to follow us. But if maybe you have a loved one, someone you like to see down in the southern part of the state, take a look at what they have to offer. Again, that's a nominal monthly fee, and we're real excited about that relationship, that partnership, again, as we continue to bring you quality wrestling throughout, primarily in our area up here in Northeast Ohio. But again, Sonny, man, next year you're going to have a blast, man. Come March. We've already been asked, from what I understand, by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. It will be Stark Media, Met side, for the state finals again. So pretty excited.
And I don't have to cut weight, right?
No, sir. No weight cut. We are going to go out the night before and actually indulge. A little bit different from years past.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. No, excited, right? And speaking of the preview second half, that first half was awesome.
Absolutely.
That was great wrestling. Great camaraderie between all the teams, and it's a preview, so we're seeing the beginning stages of the season, and so far what I've seen, I'm pretty impressed overall.
Talk about that a little bit, Sonny. Yourself, obviously, many first seasons that started for you, obviously at the middle school, at the high school level, and again, you went on to the collegiate level. What's the mindset of these young men and women now as they're preparing for this season? I mean, what are some of the things that they're thinking about? Again, TJ talks about some of those athletes that are still playing football. I talked to Coach Wesky, as I shared earlier. He actually has 7 guys that are not with him tonight from his starting lineup that are getting ready to play Thursday night. So obviously the team we saw tonight will not be the team we'll see down the road. But just talk a little bit about that preview mentality, getting ready for that season, setting the goals and that what you want to accomplish.
Well, you said it right there with the goal setting. I would say that was probably done for me maybe a couple of weeks ago before a preview like this, getting into the season, starting to see where you're at, what's ahead. And a preview like this mindset, Jimmy, that's what you spoke about. And I think there's, I don't know, probably 2 sets of mindsets. I can give you what mine probably was.
I'm sure, if I may, not to interrupt, but I'm sure during your season, you had several mindsets. I mean, you had that beginning of the season, you had that mid-season, sometimes going through a little bit of that hump time, if you will, but then you had to turn out to a whole nother level when it came February and March. And maybe not.
I'm going to
you
say
were one
no.
Of the best. Okay. No, you're fine. No, please educate me.
And the only reason why, because I think I tried to have a mindset first match, even at a preview like this, it was, if your goal is to be a state champ, mine was, and I know these guys, all their goals are state, titles. But mindset, maybe what separated is, mine tried to stay the same on a preview. I was coming
as you did in the state tournament.
I was honestly coming out to rip your head off in a preview. I really was.
Sure.
And then if you wanted to wrestle the next day, it was going to happen again.
But I think that's a great point, Sonny.
What I'm saying?
No, brother. That's that separator. I mean, obviously never close to the accolade, but just a hard worker, loved the sport, did the best, did not have. But again, I like that mentality difference. I can remember some of the ebb and flows where a guy like you at that high level all the time, man, you kept that there.
Yeah, I had to. I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew who was in front of me, right? Especially if I, speaking as a freshman in high school, I knew who was in front of me, those, junior, seniors, and, so everybody you had to prepare for. But, it just depends. Everybody's mindset's set different, and that's fine too. If you're more of a beginner wrestler, your mindset's going to be a little different, Jim. It's going to be just, hey, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get yelled at, and that's great too. It really is. So each of these kids just being out here tonight, being out on that mat, performing in front of fans and friends and us, they're each of them going to have a good mindset. It just depends how much they want to dial that up for what goal they have in mind.
Absolutely. And that's so important. Like you said, goals are number one. You athletes that are out there, you young men, young ladies, sit down tonight, get that book out, write those goals down, keep them right there. I'll transfer just a little bit as TJ and Jamie knows. I mean, had you and I met probably about a year and a half ago, I was 260 pounds. So, went through a program my wife and I did. And the first thing they had us do was, what are your whys? What are your whys? Why do you want to do this? And,
people don't ask themselves that in regular parts of life. They don't ask themselves that enough.
Right. And that was a big thing. And when it got tough, and again, even though I was a wrestler and we, back in our day, and probably, we did some foolish things. I didn't do quite as much as maybe some of my buddies, but still, but when they told us when it got rough, pull the book, pull your whys, remember why you're doing this. Right. And when I looked at mine, and it helped me get through some tough times. So, that said, you guys out there, why are you here? Why are you doing this? Is it just like you said, is it just to be part of this sport? Is it to be a part of a team? Or do you want to take it to the level of a Sonny Marchette? Do you want it to be the state champ? What is your why? And then whatever that why is, that's the type of work you got to put in. Because there's a different level of work between a Jimmy Bostic that thought about, I want to go to state someday, right? To a Sonny Marchette says, I will be a state champ, right?
Yeah, this sport's for everybody. It really is. And winning in this sport isn't necessarily just winning a state title at all, not at all. Some people are just, either blessed or put around, different people, in a situation, team, whatever. But as far as, goal, some of these young men might have goals of just, being varsity. And I tell you what, that's that spirit that they have. If they achieve that same spirit they have that day that they do is identical to the same spirit I had when I won a state title. So,
Amen.
you know, I would correlate pretty much.
I had a young man, talking about that. I had a young man that I coached years ago, and obviously you did the rope climb right back in the day. We had a couple ropes in the practice room, and the young man came out as a freshman, never made it to the top to his senior year, and you thought that kid won a state title, man. It was so amazing, and that's what it's all about to me. I mean, again, if you're blessed, to be that athlete and have that skill set, most aren't. Let's be honest, most aren't, but the heart and to walk in every day into that practice room and give it all. God bless each and every one of them.
We had ropes in our room too, and I'll never forget watching you and John race up that from seated position. They had to keep their legs straight.
Yep.
Dude, they were up and down in 9 seconds.
Yep.
It was nuts. It's
just amazing. Well, again, folks, we're getting ready for round number 2 here at the Stark County Preview. Looking around the mats a little bit. Far mat there. We'll kind of move our camera that way. Looks like Minerva is going to be taking on Northwest. I can see Coach Kali down there with the Indians. Far mat across the way. We'll kind of move that way. If you can see in the purple there, I see Coach Meisner walking around there with the Jackson Polar Bears. And looks like the Polar Bears. I'm going to say I don't see anybody right there, maybe in the back. No, don't see him there. So the Bears will have somebody over there. And right there, the center mat, it looks to be Louisville. So Coach Coleman. Oh, there's Coach Coleman down there. Wow. And, of course, the legend, Coach Jeff Coleman. We call him the rudder there. So I'll shoot him over there. If you can see Coach Coleman. There's Coach Laughlin down there, of course, with the assistants working there. And, again, same thing. Well, maybe, James, maybe Louisville is going against Jackson. Maybe that's what they're kind of warming up.
Perry's wrestling Marlington down here.
Okay, got Perry and
I know North Canton is wrestling Canton South down right here.
Now, I got to ask, brother, because your son, senior year, I know you're going to give all the time you can for us, but anywhere your son is, we've said, Jamie better be there because, as we know, his dad's 5 of mine gone through this and already gone. It breaks your heart. I know you'll be there. Is he going to see your son tonight, you think?
He does have a match. He texted me. He does have a match.
Good.
He's not quite down to weight yet. He's got a ways to go.
It's okay.
But something I've never seen before. The North Canton kids are in pinstripes.
Ooh.
I've never seen that before. Check that out.
Now, how you like that?
Hey, Dave Williman.
Dave Williman wore pinstripes.
Well, it might, maybe. We have to check the picture in the wrestling room, Jamie, but I believe state champ from North Canton, Dave Williman.
Dan Williman.
Okay, yeah. I'll give you guys Sonny, you'll laugh. I'll give you guys
maybe.
You'll laugh.
More pinstripes.
So we're up at Medina tournament years back, going in my senior year, right? And placed 4th the year before. Thought it was all that in a bag of chips. Decent on my feet, whatever. So I get into the quarterfinals, and here's a young man from North Canton, C.J. Mears. Never seen C.J. Mears before. Didn't know much about C.J. Mears. I thought, And, C.J. Mears taught me just about everything I wanted to know about takedowns on my feet during that match.
Smooth as butter, huh?
Oh, my dude,
Smooth
that guy
butter.
was glass.
Who's that?
Yeah.
CJ.
Oh, yeah. I just went over to my brother who wrestled in that era. He says we've never worn pinstripes. They used to wear the white ones that said North Canton on the front. Those were cool.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of those.
So this is the first.
This has got to be the first. Yeah, you're going to rock orange singlets with pinstripes. You're going to tick off some Claymont people.
Ooh,
you are going to. You are going to.
No,
they're gonna make comments at Top Gun.
Boy.
You bet your butt they will.
Yep, absolutely. Well,
right? I'm standing next to one.
Yep. Yeah.
You know I'm right.
I love it. Well, again, TJ is down on the floor. He's getting some pictures there. Again, folks, tune into any of our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. TJ's got them all up and rolling. Things are rolling on. Again, our YouTube site is Stark Media Team. I know you're there with us. Again, share this with your friends. Again, though, please, if you want to check out our live action once the season begins, you'll need to go to starkmedia.tkdssports with an S, sportsplural.com. That is our launch site for all of our broadcasting. So, again, get in there early. Get yourself signed up so you don't miss any of the action. Again, very soon, the Ironman, I think, James, just 2 weeks away, I think?
Right about that. Yep, it's always one of the first things that goes down. I'm not sure. We may do another national anthem. We may do another one since it's a different crowd in here. Sometimes they do that with 2-session things.
Okay.
I see that 50-50 bucket.
Yeah, I saw you grab some 50-50s
I had to
there,
pay
big dog.
I had to give my wife money to get in, so I could only buy 2 tickets. But a good friend of mine says it only takes 1 ticket to win it all.
Absolutely.
I'm known for buying an arm length at these
I
things.
hope you're holding that 1 ticket there, buddy. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if folks had a chance to look, at the repository this week. Again, do a nice job throughout the season. We appreciate all their work that they do. They, James, they had a nice little, top guys to be looking for throughout the season. And boy, I'll tell you what, when you went down through that, Perry, of the 20 they listed, I think there might be more than 20, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They had 8 guys that were, in that list. I mean, again, Charles Curtis, senior, Nate Ducey, senior, Aiden Faulkner, senior, Marshall Geckler, senior, junior, Ryan Hartshorn, a senior. Then you go with the Rohr brothers, right? Lincoln and Mason. Lincoln, of course, coming up this year as a freshman, had a chance to coach both those young men back in the day in youth. Good family. And, of course, grandson of Mr. longtime coach there, Dave Riggs. So a junior, a freshman, and a sophomore. And, of course, Liston Seibert. Remember, James, how much did we talk about Liston last season?
Yeah, Dad's standing right next to us. You're right. He made his first splash at the holiday tournament. I made the mistake of saying, sometimes they put their JV kids, and JV kids don't finish third at the holiday tournament.
Well, and the big thing about Liston, Russ, we felt we don't know that we ever confirmed, but we believe he was wrestling up a weight because he couldn't cut the lineup, at where he needed to be.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's not out of the realm of possibility that there's a state title in the next couple of years with the Panthers.
Absolutely not. Totally.
I mean,
who knows? This could be the year. I mean, I look at that group right there, my brother. That's a heck of an 8. Yeah. I mean, you need about 6 to 8 to give yourself a chance down there, and they've got a great 8 there.
You need everybody to contribute. You need people to get bonus points. And you need semi-wins. And they got dudes that can do all that.
All right. Well, out there at the center, we're getting our announcement for round number 2. And looking far side again, it's going to be Minerva with Northwest.
Yeah, so we got the Minerva boys wrestling Jackson. We just saw it. We got a taste of the Minerva girls in session 1.
Absolutely. So it looks like Jackson, I'm not sure. They're probably mixing some things up here. I'm not really sure who they're.
It's about I think it's going to be everybody matches.
Well, I think it's going to be Louisville. I think Minerva sent a young man over to wrestle. Maybe this is an exhibition, possibly over there, at 106. So it looks like it's going to be Jackson and Louisville. And as you said down here, tell you what though, James, those pinstripes look pretty sharp. I like that. I'll tell you, the thing I really liked about the orange this year. Did you have a chance? Again, green, of course, in the Federal League. Their football helmet. Did you see the orange that they had on their helmets this year at all? Did you see it get a good?
I don't recall.
Kind of had a glowing. It was really neat. It was a glowing orange. I don't know. It's kind of weird the way it hit the light.
What a great season they had.
Yeah, I tell you what. Shout out to
Coach
Geis. Coach Geis. Yeah.
North Canton guy.
Absolutely.
Did a great job with that team.
Absolutely.
Came across the buzzsaw called the Massillon Tigers, and they are for real.
If we're talking football,
bouncing around.
No worries. If we're talking football, let's mention the other side, Hoban.
Akron Hoban,
right?
Akron Hoban.
So
they are for real. I saw both of them this year.
If you want to talk about an athlete that's a wrestler, football player, we can talk about a freshman at Hoban High School named Brayton Feaster.
Right.
That dude is a super duper star.
Yeah, he's getting.
So
he's a freshman.
You'll see him
on the team. He starts.
You'll see him Thursday.
Okay.
In the state finals in the backfield.
The highest level you can be at.
Number 18.
The ball?
Yeah. Number 18, Brayton Feaster. He is a super kid. Super kid. I know him a little bit.
Sure.
But super kid, and I look forward to see, what his high school career brings, because he is one of those next level superstars that we're going to see and you're going to hear about.
Wow.
Cover. We will cover.
Wow. Hey guys, talking freshmen here again, looking at what the repository shared. Not a lot of freshmen that were identified, but one that kind of threw me a little bit. I don't remember seeing this young man coming through. A Lucas Jordan out of Lake. You guys got any history on Lucas? I don't think it's of the Jordan fame, right, of the St. Paris Graham and so forth. But they say this young man, though he's projected at 138, of course, projected at Division I to be a pretty stout weight class from what we're hearing. But anything on Lucas? That name is not familiar to me.
What year is he?
He's a freshman.
No, I'm not
I
sure.
actually know Lucas.
Okay. All right, give us a 411. Little Stark Media exclusive, Sonny.
I don't know if I can give the breakdown completely.
Well, no. You don't have to
But
give no
no,
secrets away.
Yeah, no. Actually, him and my daughter talked,
Oh,
as
it's
friends.
that.
Okay, hold on.
Wait a minute. This is getting a little
So it's
deeper
like
here.
It was for maybe a week, right? But a good kid,
Okay.
super good kid. So I got a chance to mingle with him per se, right? And he is going to be a good up and comer for Lake.
Good.
Pretty dedicated young man, great family. Got a chance to meet his parents.
Okay.
And great support staff. You're going to see some really good things from Lucas as well.
I think that the tough thing about Lake guys, I'm sure I still watch, obviously, a lot of things that happen in schools. They failed their levy again, second time in November. I've seen some of the cuts that they've, proposed. Some of them are already going to go into effect because of the way the funding works in our state, which, by the way, those that are out there listening, is unconstitutional, and that's really where we need to fix the problem. But that said, I think they're gonna possibly put that back on again in March, from what I hear. But with that, though, that monies will not really come to the school till that next January. So again, prayers over there. I hope they can pass that, because some of the things I've heard, some of the cuts that happen, and I've been through a little bit of that back in my day, back when I was at Norton. It can crush a community. So hope those guys get things up and going.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. You got to have support staff, or you got to have finances to do it.
Crowd favorite Alex Bostic here his senior year. That is one of the funkiest dudes that you'll come across.
What's your first
Fireman's-
opinion on the singlet, Jamie?
I mean,
It's in effect right now, first time.
is
What do
that
you
a
think?
legal headlock? It's pretty illegal headlock. You
All
know
right,
what?
guys.
I just
Hey.
see Claymont. I just see Claymont when I look at that. I don't know about it.
You're going to try to
I
rub
don't
that
know.
in. Guys, joining us right now, got the headset on. I want to bring it to the platform again. Head coach over at Mount Union, good friend of mine. I'll tell you what, just had the Mount Union Invitational, right? Was there, a great event, great turnout. Ryan Riggs, Coach Riggs, thank you for joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Happy to be here. Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you, man. I'm glad we did, I kept promising, right? We're going to go over and get a broadcast, and we never did it. We were going to do it in the room. It got down to the end of the season. You and I were trying to coordinate, but you had, tournaments coming up, and you said, hey, Jimmy, how about we just wait till next year? So, Coach, this year we are going to do every effort, because I'll tell you what, we're here, obviously, the Stark County preview. I think key is Mount Union, you're right, Stark County College. You are possibly our only Stark County college wrestling team, I think, right? Is that right, guys?
Correct,
I believe. So we got to get down there and see you, brother.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys.
You gotta funnel some of these dudes in there.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job over there.
Oh, I appreciate it.
The camaraderie, obviously, and the support that Mount Union gets from everybody, alumni, everything. And you at the head right now, you're kicking butt, dude.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Definitely.
It means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, definitely follow you and your team on Facebook, social media,
Yeah.
and join right along. You got some really good wrestlers there, some good talent. So look forward to seeing you kick some butt this year.
I appreciate it.
Well,
yeah,
Coach-
I love following your journey too.
Absolutely. I tell you what, we pulled him off the bench a little bit. We said, hey, Sonny, why don't
Yeah.
Jamie did a great
I
job.
love it.
We love it. We have the quality that we have on this staff. Little staff here is great. Coach, tell us a little bit about the team this year. I know you got quite a few guys from the area. We were down there at the Invitational, seeing the guys perform. Can you share a little bit about the Purple Raiders this year and your expectations?
Yeah, we always have high expectations. I mean, last year we had over half a freshman in the starting lineup. I've had 2 recruiting classes on campus now, but we had a strong finish, 6 in the region out of 20 teams with majority freshmen. So that speaks volume. We had 7 placers there, 6 first-time placers. So we're building a lot of growth as the year progresses. And I love the guys Northeast Ohio in our backyard in Stark County. We have 2 wrestlers, Maxwell Cooper from Tuslaw.
Tuslaw, yes.
He's doing a great job. He was at the Bob Del Rosa Open, had a great showing. lost close in the blood round, but he jumped levels and continue to do so. And we also have Jamar Bostic, McKinley High School. He's out with an injury, but he's a great fit to the team and the program. So, it's camaraderie is a great culture, steering in the right direction. Team's really tight knit. Like Sonny said, all support with our alumni. It's fun, and I absolutely love being Purple Raider. Right here in the backyard, University of Mount Union.
You got a lot of good young talent.
Yeah,
so
we do.
To cut you off,
no, you're fine, brother. Go.
Yeah,
right. You got some really good local. I'm sorry, not just young, but local talent, right? Dries Sparkman,
Dries Sparkman, Maslin Perry, he's doing a great job, and then
awesome.
We got a transfer, Nolan Fry, right from your high school, Sonny Walsh Jesuit, couple-time D1 placer. He's doing a great job. He's a varsity at 133. Right, in Brecksville, Jack Stanley. So I love combining the powers of Ohio, right, and then getting some of the Pennsylvania guys too. And we are a young team, and we're over 50% of the roster is freshmen, and then a majority of the, second biggest class sophomore. So we're a young team with only 5 upperclassmen, but we have 33-man roster, retaining all these guys.
Nice.
5 of the upperclassmen or 3 transfers that I brought in that fit our core values. So direction of the program is very bright moving forward.
Now, you talk about the program, Coach. I'll tell you what, a first for Mount Union, as it is with many teams. The first women's team you guys brought in from Wadsworth High School, their head coach, Clay Winger. Clay now the women's head coach, if I'm correct. There. Can you speak a little bit about the development and the, creating a women's program at Mount Union?
Yeah, just getting to know Clay. I mean, he's, kept it rolling at Wadsworth, just a great person, great family. And it was a no-brainer, as far as our end. And he was hired November 6th, and he hit the ground running, campus visits, getting in practices, connecting with coaches. He's doing an amazing job.
Wow,
so
it's nice.
exciting.
It's nice to have such a good wrestling program right out of Alliance High School, too, that's just ready to start funneling kids up. We saw Minerva as well. There's solid girls in this area.
Yeah, the girls program is excellent, and the men's head coach, Coach Hilliard, he's a Mount Union alum, right? So it's same with Brecksville, like Coach Haverdale, Mount Union alum. The coaching tree is large, and the growth of women's too. It's exciting time.
Absolutely. Well, folks, with us is the head coach of the Mount Union Purple Raiders, Ryan Riggs. We thank him for taking a little bit of time here to spend with us. Coach, we were talking a little bit about Maslin, right? Maslin, of course, Thursday night, they are, playing for the state championship against Hoban in football. I talked to Coach Wesky over there, and he said, Jim, he goes, I got like 7 guys that aren't here. They're all playing football, and they want me to give them a week off after football. I can't give them a week off. We got a big match, especially wrestling McKinley. We're not losing to McKinley. So just curious, your thoughts coming from, you're building that wrestling program, and, of course, Mount Union football prolific. How does that work with you? And I understand a little different in college than it is in high school. You're not sharing those athletes per se. But, do one help the other?
High school multi-sport athletes is excellent. At college level, it is difficult to do both. If you can handle it and stay on top of your academics, I'm ecstatic. We have Steve Mara. He's done with football. Branch wrestler, very tough. So he transitioned. He's right in the wrestling room, had his 3rd practice, looks great. So I'm excited for him to step on the mat at heavyweight. It can be done, but you have to make sure time management, maximizing your time, because it is difficult doing both. And just to speak on our alumni, we have one alumni. He was an All-American in football and wrestling. The only one. Academic All-American as well from Carrollton, Steve Harder, graduated 84, majored in business, went on to start 5 companies within 5 years of graduating, and since then acquired and built over 30 companies that grossed over $10 billion. So you look at a guy who did it back then, and he bleeds purple and connects with the team, speaks to him every year. He flies in from Texas. But it can be done at a very high level then and even now, so it's, you got to make sure, you have the right people. And at Mount Union, with all the mentors you're surrounded by, you can definitely do both.
Hey, Coach, how many years have you been the head coach?
I'm in my 3rd season.
3rd.
Yeah.
So if I'm correct, 2020.
Yeah.
Right?
21, I was hired, August 21. Okay. Yeah.
So pretty much in the middle of the COVID.
Yeah. Right at the tail end.
Towards the end, right?
Yep.
So you had a little more difficult start, I think, than some people being a head coach.
That would be a rough way to start.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be a rough way to start.
But being that you are at the college you're at, did it make it much easier
Yeah, absolutely.
Did
Yeah,
it make it much easier knowing that you have alumni, you have a family already built?
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Culture-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Like come back home to Mount. What attracted me was the stellar academics, the history of the wrestling program, the potential the team has. Yeah, it was definitely a smooth transition during difficult times, right at the tail end of that. So it was, and when I came back, I mean, classrooms were in session. That's what they wanted, so that helps too, right? Where the university, it stands where it wasn't all online or anything like that. So the transition, it was smooth, coming into Mount.
For 3 years, you're doing unbelievable, and
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing.
Oh no, we're gonna get down and call some in, brother.
I'd love it.
Oh, we are. No,
I'd love it.
we're gonna do this. As long as they'll have us come down, we're gonna come through. Coach, Sonny brought up family. We would be amiss to not talk about your family, right? I mean, we've got two young studs here for Perry in the lineup. Now we finally see Lincoln move up. How about those two nephews? And what is Uncle Ryan's expectation here for those two young men this season?
Yeah, just enjoy it. I mean, they love the sport. Lincoln's to just finish a match here, 3-2 against Cam. Cam's a senior from Arlington and actually wrestles in my club in the offseason, Riggs Wrestling Academy. Tough opponent. But, yeah, it's fun working with my nephews and being right close to my family. I don't miss those drives up from Virginia. I was down there for a while.
Yes, you were.
But yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for those guys. They'll continue to have a lot of growth, just being 9th and 10th grade. And like I said, they absolutely love it, and that's what it's all about.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, you're joining us right here at North Canton High School. Stark Media's Stark County Wrestling Preview. Our guest right now, Coach Ryan Riggs of the Mount Union Purple Raiders. Coach, as we wrap up your time here, and again, we appreciate you taking time with us. Just a little bit about your assistants, some of the young, the unsung guys that maybe don't get to talk in front of the mic a lot of times. But boy, talk to us a little bit about your assistants, who's working with you this season, and how much they have helped to contribute to the growth of your program.
So, yeah, when I first got hired, I brought in assistant coach Sam White and Tony Daly. So our staff was completely coached by my dad and all the great coaches at Massillon Perry. So it was a no-brainer bringing those guys in. Sam, I mean, tremendous in the room, connecting with the guys, and his wrestling knowledge is, I mean, up there with anybody. Multiple-time state champion and Ironman. The accolades go on and on with Sam White. He's basically like a little brother to me. I mean, when I was in college, he was one of my main training partners when he was in high school. And I had a gap year before I started grad school. I was on staff in 2009, so it was cool being in his corner for his final state title. And so we go way back, and love having him part of the staff. And then Tony Daly, he graduated from Massillon Perry in 2014. Team captain, state champion, all the accolades, but that was a special year. Massillon Perry won state duels and an individual state tournament. And what he brings into the room for the upper weights is fantastic, right? And then Coach Marchette knows a lot about, right, Tony Daly from the Notre Dame days, and he's proud to his time there.
Is the word priceless, right? And Tony is, honestly.
Yeah.
He's priceless.
He is.
But something funny is Tony Daly was my son's first favorite wrestler.
Oh,
he
nice.
couldn't wait for Tony to wrestle. And, I would bring my son to stuff when he was wee little. And he would be always asking me, when's Tony wrestling? Like, that was his first guy. And we all have to find that guy to make us, like, that's what I want to be like or aspire to be as a wrestler, And it was pretty cool that Tony Daly was my son's first.
Then you guys know Tony pretty well. And we talked a little bit early on the station here about these young men maybe not being as tough in this generation as maybe us in our generation, but that young man, Tony Daly,
Tony was nasty.
He would have been okay in our generation as well.
Yeah,
he definitely would.
He was a little brother that got his butt kicked for years.
Tough kid.
He's
kid.
Super tough.
Super good kid too.
And he's in fighting shape. He was in our inter squad, competed at 174 against tough opponent Alex Crothers from Carrollton.
Oh, wow.
And he's on the mats every day. And then his older brother, Zach Daly, he volunteers. He's around the program a lot. And he's another big asset.
Family.
Big family, yeah.
Good work.
Yeah, they're part of the Mount Union family. So when I was at Massillon Perry, you always saw the Daly crew, just like Sonny probably remembers at Notre Dame. You saw the Daly crew. Now it's Purple Raiders. They're there. So, I mean, they roll deep, too, with their family. So it's a lot of fun. And I love having those guys in there and his family around the program. And then also I bring in Brian Dolph. He runs some practice for us. And like Marchette's been around Dolph a long time, and his wrestling knowledge is through the roof. And my dad's around the program a lot this year.
I was going to ask you, Dad's doing okay?
He's the godfather of it all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so much fun. I mean, just the history of their, my family, my coaches, my mentors are all intact at Mount Union and around those guys, and they're absorbing that. And what they do with it, right? That's up to them. And I think they're doing a tremendous job. And, I mean, they love having the guys around them. And, I mean, it's like still kind of surreal even in year 3, just having us all in the same room. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And we talk a lot about that. Our sport is different than other sports, man. I mean, once somebody's wrestled, once they put the shoes on, touch the Resolite, and you find that out, family you connect. There's immediate connect. And as you said, Coach, down there to have all that which you've watched through the years now part of, what you're doing down there and building that Purple Raider program, that's got to be really cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, speaking to our alumni, we have a lot of recent and older alumni that still come around the program or our practices. And
what about that ornery Ray? Is he still come around?
He still does.
Does he?
You might need an entire broadcast, a couple hours.
We've had Ray on. Ray-Ray's been on air.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the man. I mean, obviously, my dad used to work out with him years back when he came back from, after University of Arizona. But yeah, Ray's awesome. I really got to know him really well the past few years. Before he was with Rudis and Marysville, he's around the program much more. But Jordan James, my first year, he came back for grad school, won his second national championship. And Coach Ray, he was able to be in the corner with me for the finals, and that all the nostalgia. And he was our first national finalist in 1972. So to share that moment with Coach Ray was amazing.
That's awesome.
I'll remember it forever. So I love him.
Definite legend of the sport. One of my favorite people of all time as well.
Yeah, and he has magic water.
Yeah, try to find somebody who says a bad word about that guy. You know what I mean? Good luck finding somebody to say a bad word about that guy.
I've known him since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and been a staple, in my family's life and the sport of wrestling, and obviously, at your college there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
just doing amazing. He just won a world title.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
in Poland.
Right.
Yeah.
He just won a world title. And does anybody know really how old Ray is? I mean, is he still 30, 32?
Yeah,
that's what
it looks like. He's 32.
Right.
I mean, the guy's amazing.
Amazing dedication that one human being can give.
It's definitely over
not
60.
just to himself, but to others. And he's done a great job.
Yeah, so selfless. And he's already made it back to the room a couple times this year. So we're always excited anytime he can get back.
That's great. Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking time out of your evening here. I know you got a chance to watch one of your nephews. I think your other one's Mason's coming. So we're going to let you go. Coach, we wish you nothing but the best of luck. We're going to get down there, going to do an in the room with you. We got to do some broadcasting. Good luck, Coach. You're the best.
I love it. Thank you for everything you do.
Take it easy, brother.
Love you guys.
Big fan. Go kick some butt.
Thank you.
All right, folks, there you have it from Mount Union College. Again, guys, crazy to think, right, of all the colleges. We have quite a few colleges around here. That is the only college that has wrestling in Stark County, and it's not going anywhere. That young man is going to do nothing but grow.
Summit County?
Summit Akron has a club team. I'd heard Akron was coming back. Kent is in Portage, right? So they don't.
The only wrestling, only college maybe other than in Stark County that it does not have wrestling, but I have wrestled there, which would have been Walsh College.
Oh, we wrestled a lot of matches at Walsh College.
That's the only
grew up there.
College I could think of. But
you're right. Walsh, is young, right? And again, I apologize, son, but they brought in soccer. They brought in a couple of sports. I always thought
softball, I believe it's
I always thought wrestling might find its way to Walsh.
I did too.
All right, Sonny, you got to get on that, brother. We need you coaching at
Walsh
College.
My coaching days are at the youth level. A lot less stressful.
Marchette used to run a camp out of there every year, and we would wrestle in it every year.
That's why I mentioned.
And it was a neat experience, and we kind of always thought that. I didn't realize that they didn't have a wrestling program
until probably middle school. Spent the night in the dorms there many times for wrestling camps, and it's really held some of the elite wrestlers in our sport at that college.
Here's a funny story for you. Us at Walsh, right? We had this Russian guy. I don't even remember what his name was, but he came in. He showed all the Russian tumbling, how he would warm up.
Sergey Balagazov.
Okay. Me and Sonny are sitting there watching him, and he did a round off back tuck, and I was like, I think I could do that. And me and Sonny, between a lunch break, we didn't go to the cafeteria. One after the other, we tried until we could do a round off back tuck. And I swear to God that this is me and Sonny's relationship in a nutshell. I hit one round off back tuck and stuck it, and I was like, I did it. Sonny goes up, does round off back tuck, second backflip. And I was like, I just can't, man. I just can't.
We're gonna go there.
Yeah. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Sixth
Somersault.
grader.
Here it
We were
comes.
like 7th and 6th grade and wouldn't leave the gym until we could do it.
I had an older sister that was a elite cheerleader. So I had some.
Shout out to Gina.
Yes, from North Canton, graduate
Uh-huh.
of North Canton High School. Yeah, she. I had no choice but to do some gymnastics.
Well, everything
and back
helps,
in my day,
you know.
Yeah, for sure.
We didn't realize that until we saw somebody from out of the country do stuff like that. And then, it was just when I went to Findlay, we had John Jeffire, who is very big in international wrestling. So it was funny, like when we would warm up, it was all that stuff. Handsprings, backflips, all that. So walk on your hands, all that stuff.
Well, and I'll tell you what, James, it's funny you say that because we saw a transition to that of warming up back in our day, right? Back in the 70s and early 80s. We didn't do that. Didn't see that.
No.
Then what
You
about
walked
that
on
time?
your hands.
A little bit, but not. But what you're describing here, I can remember teams. Not you say that back in those 80s, early 90s. That's how you saw the
straight up
changing
tumbling.
it. Yeah, a lot of tumbling.
Matter of fact, before the St. Night wrestling match, when I was at Walsh Jesuit as a senior, pretty big match. I think it was number one, probably number one, number two in the country. And,
Okay.
And if you were there, you could definitely testify that Walsh Jesuit's warm up that time was gymnastics. So we had some guys like Jamie that could do back flips and back tucks and back layouts, like myself as well. And it was a competition.
Really?
So that's how really, I would say half the team that knew how to do them, we would warm up that way.
Right.
We did, right? And I still do for the most part, the cartwheels and everything. And as Jamie said, that was, stolen really from watching the Russians.
Uh-huh.
It really was.
Very
Knowing that you can transition the sports, make it a warm up type deal and just benefits it brought.
Absolutely. Now that's really and again, now we've gone through another transition. I don't know. Do you guys see it as much? I don't think I see quite as much of what you're talking about, like we saw back then.
Yeah, I see. Some at more the college. I don't know about the big gymnastic backflips, right?
Right.
That was just kind of excessive that we did for more crowd fun. Right.
Well, if you were going to win a state title, and you had to be able to do a backflip just in case. Just in case. I had to be able to do a standing backflip.
Right.
I had one. I could do it with my eyes closed. Oh yeah. I didn't have the wrestling ready to be in the state finals, but my celebrations were on point. My celebrations were on point.
Hey, that's what Gable Stevenson does, right? That's his famous
yeah.
celebration. So as a heavyweight, these
talk about a
athletes,
freak athlete.
you want to talk about just unbelievable athletes today. Gable Stevenson, Olympic champ for us in our past Olympics with a jaw-biting fin. I don't even know if there was a full second left.
That was one of the coolest matches.
It really was.
Absolutely.
And we did talk earlier in the broadcast about what makes us different and just not stopping. And I know you guys were talking, and all I could think of was Gable Stevenson in that finals match, and just never stopped.
Yep.
And he actually never stopped, and then got the takedown with a half a second left, and the dedication. Right, the dedication that a person like that it'll come down to a split.
Oh yeah,
microsecond.
Right. And we talked about that, especially at the college level, with a couple of the D3 stuff that we've done and seen. That opportunity of that window of opportunity to score shrinks so much at the college. I mean, this. You're there, and you can really speak
and then
to
even
that
further,
and then take it to the Olympic level.
Right, Olympic level and international level. It just gets tighter and tighter. And that's why it's so, I think, fun to be here tonight to watch the preview, is because you see the beginning of that, right?
Yes.
We're seeing the beginning of maybe one of these potential people here.
Oh, brother, we're going to see some of these guys.
5-10 years,
down at state tournament or beyond.
These guys in the Olympic finals. You just never know. And that's what's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's what alignment looks like that only made it to round 2.
All right, again, folks, you are about midway through session number 2, wrapping up tonight's action. Again, if you have a chance to get out to a match, again, let's just read off some of our head coaches here from around the county. At Glen Oak, of course, Mike Hind, our head coach there. over at Glen Oak High School. And, Sonny and I just talking about, again, how great it was to see all of the numbers that you see there with that Glen Oak team. Coach Hine doing a nice job. Over at Jackson, of course, is what do you want, the Munchkin shot or what here?
That's what he's doing.
I know exactly.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on. This might be the first time I've been the tallest in the group.
I don't think you are.
You're not.
I think Jim's hair's
Oh, I got
you.
boots on.
Oh.
I got boots on.
We're going to look at
Is
that
it
picture
close?
and we're like, is TJ in a tree? Where do we take this picture from?
Shooting down. Oh, my gosh. Well, and again, over at Jackson, of course, Ronnie Hepner, the head coach there. Ronnie's been there quite a few years. Jesse Villers in his second year over at Lake. Craig Wuske over at Massillon. Jason Blackison, as TJ had pointed out, taking the reins over at McKinley High School. Nick Gamble, of course, longtime coach here at North Canton Hoover. And Brett McBurney, again, over at Massillon Perry. Of course, that's our Federal League teams that'll be battling out for a Federal League title this year, even though how many years, guys, has Perry won that daggum thing, man? I mean, what, 17?
Yeah,
18?
It goes back to like 2003 or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Glen Oak got him one time in like the early 2000s.
Was it? All right. Some of the other Stark County head coaches, of course, over at Alliance, we have David Pennington, Canton South, Joe Rutherford. At Central Catholic, Steve Noggle. Steve and I coached together in our youth program over at Jackson. His son Grady, a junior this year. Hopefully we're going to be doing an in-the-room session with Steve. Over at Fairless High School, Ryan Murgatroyd, the head coach. Micah Coleman in his second year over at Louisville as he took over for Rocky Laughlin. And Marlington, Andy Lamacusa. At Minerva, Chad Hilliard, longtime name there at Minerva. At Art Kali in his second year over at Northwest High School. Sandy Valley, longtime head coach Greg Donahue. At St. Thomas, Mr. Theodore Hunter. And at Tuslaw, second year, Mr. Michael Petreme. So, again, folks, if you have a chance to get out, support any of these teams, make sure you do. I know they would greatly appreciate it. All right, James, as your son wrestled yet?
He has not.
Right.
I know he's getting close, I think. He's over there warming up.
All right. That's good. Good to know.
Just discussing some technique with Sonny.
Yes.
Here, you know. Yeah. You're gonna like him.
That was dirty.
You're gonna like him. He's explosive, and he does hit that little
What's that
high
young
crotch back door.
man's name again?
Connor McClintock.
Oh,
Easy to remember.
Wait.
It's cousins, I think.
Okay, he's a McClintock.
Yeah.
Shout out to Eddie.
Yeah. Did you see Eddie's shirts on Facebook today?
Dude, all North Canton wrestling.
Yeah.
All North Canton
Well,
wrestling.
it says Warehouse 13 wrestling.
He is the Hollywood celebrity.
He's the Hollywood celebrity,
right?
yeah.
Definitely. And good guy. Super good guy. I'm on Facebook with him and try to follow him as much as I can. And Eddie's super supporter of, one, North Canton, obviously, his alumni, and then two, of wrestling in general. He still follows the sport pretty much and hangs out with some good old friends. Mr.
All right,
Brian
guys,
Dahl.
we have another guest on with us now. Was down there with the microphone a little bit earlier here this evening, kind of one of our main coordinators and definitely on the board of our Stark County Association. With us now, Mr. Kurt Hamilton. Kurt, how you doing, buddy? Looks like you put on another great show, my friend.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me up to talk to you guys for a little bit. I guess I'm the guy on the microphone, but the credit goes to a dozen or more guys around the county and all the coaches, North Canton. You know, every year I ask them, hey, do you want us to look for another school in the county? And they say, you know what, we'd just like to have it here. Hey, kudos to them, because I know how much work it is to put out 5 mats, put out all the tables, and just take care of all the responsibility of set up, tear down, and it's a headache. Let's be honest, it's a headache, and I appreciate what Nick Gamble does to host this thing.
Well, you know, headache or not, as you say, I know. Shout out to you, your team, and as you said, all the guys that put this on. Because and Jamie and I, we talked a little bit about this. This transitioned, from the Stark County All-Star meet a few years ago. Talk a little bit about that transition and maybe the thought behind going from the All-Star meet, to this preview event.
Well, there's two main problems with All-Star matches. Problem number one is they usually occur 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks after the season, So whatever weight class a guy was wrestling, he's probably well above that. You never know who puts on the most weight and such. And the other issue is, once you get to an all-star match 3 weeks after the season, some of the kids just didn't take it very seriously. They wanted to goof around, which, and we would talk to them every year and say, listen, hey, people are paying good money to come and watch the best wrestling in Stark County, but I get it. We were all kids once too.
They're still high school kids, and we understand.
So we chose to go in this direction. And let's be honest, there's nothing that binds any school in the county to do this. We just asked them, hey, we'd like for everybody to participate. Get 100% participation from every school in the county every year.
I absolutely love this change.
Echo that.
And in all honesty, when you do the all-star thing, not every parent is coming. This also gives you an opportunity to have more kids compete.
Well, let's.
Is that your son? Is that what? Yeah, that's right. Jamie's son's wrestling now, Coach.
Yeah.
So
no,
that's
you
okay.
That, Jamie.
No, you're fine, Jamie. You're fine. No, you're
That's
good.
why I leaned over the
you're good.
gate a
You're
little
good.
bit.
No, I echo Jamie's sentiments, Kurt. I think this is just
Such a great
absolutely
choice.
fantastic. Again, we want to try to build our sport, and I think this does it. And again, it brings the county together, right? I mean, I know that was part of the incipitus of what you do. Obviously, overall, you support all of our schools in the county. My goodness, to hear $400,000 that we've given to athletes. And as you probably remember, I have 3 sons that benefited from the Stark County Scholarship Fund. Made their way, all 3 of them Ohio State graduates. Well, 2 are graduating and one's going to be graduating this year, but it was because of this organization that helped them to do that. So Mom and Dad, thank you, sir.
Well, I want to echo that as well. I have 2 daughters and a son that got a little financial help from the Stark County Wrestling Association. My daughters were statisticians. Well, they're kind of forced into it when their dad's the coach.
We need them.
But
right?
Absolutely, and that's the beautiful thing. If in the end, I guess our goal is here is to do 2 things. Number one, bring all the schools in the county together, create a bit of a county atmosphere where the guys, when they go to Columbus, if they qualify, they've got maybe a little bit of a connection to the other guys in the county that might not even be the same division as them. And the other thing is, guys like Don Turner and Walt Talarchik and David Riggs, some of those guys that started the Stark County Wrestling Scholarship Foundation back in 1979. Now, it's I don't know exactly how old you are, but I know in 1979 I was 9 years old, and I'm approaching retirement now. So,
I was a sophomore. So I'm a little older than you are, but I get you, brother.
But those guys, they started this thing, and the first year they gave away one $200 scholarship. One.
That first, okay.
Yep. And now we give away 10 scholarships worth $3,000 each. They're renewable each year for a total of $3,000. And it's truly remarkable. We've got some silent donors in there over the decades who have, they look at it this way. Wrestling did so much for them, and they were successful in life, and they wanted to do something for wrestling. And so, they put us in a position where we can give away that type of money, and it's jaw-dropping. To me, I don't believe there's any other county in the state that has, A, a foundation like that for scholarships, and B, to my knowledge, we're the only county that has a countywide preview every year that has 100% attendance.
Well, and I'll tell you what, Kurt, other counties are watching and seeing this. I've been approached, I think, not Portage, maybe right above Portage. Can't think of the county. One of the referees I know there
Geauga,
is.
probably.
I think it might be Geauga, and he's talked to me several times about what you do here. And I said, guys, give Kurt a call. Give Dave Talarchik. They'll more than be happy to share with you what they did, how they put it together. So what you guys are doing here is seen. And I'll tell you what, I think it's something, in my opinion, every county should consider.
Absolutely.
I go back to what you said, right? The fact that, you have your D1 folks here, but yet you have your D2, your D3. You have all division schools here. These are young men that you may or may not see throughout the season at events, but there's one time, right, in March that you're going to see all these kids, you know, many of them come together, and it's pretty cool to be down in that tunnel. You've been down there before. I've been down there, but to see someone out of your division, but from our county, just to give them a knuckle, pat on the back, say, hey, man, do your thing.
Well, you know, you fall into this category. I fall in this category. Lots of these coaches out here fall in this category. You know, wrestling did so much for us.
Yes.
It's the least we can do to give back after, you know, our competitive careers, and then as your coaching career draws to a close. You know, I'll retire here from Arlington in a couple of years, but I have every intention of staying involved in something like this till I physically can't.
Right.
At Marlington, are you guys going to continue to do the Iron Boys?
Yes, the Iron
That
Boys.
is, I'll tell you what, you know about the Iron Boys?
No,
I'll tell you this. It's things like that we discussed earlier about the depth of Ohio wrestling. It's things like that. What they do is every Monday, is it every 2 Mondays or something?
Every other Monday.
Every other Monday, all the JV kids, I'm telling you, it's as full as this room.
Yes.
All the JV kids in the area get like 4 or 5 matches in 2 hours.
So
3 hours.
Here's how this
Match them up and go, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Probably about 10 years ago,
Smart.
you know, JV tournaments began to fade because, you know,
You can't get full
you
lineups.
can't get full lineups, and so you know, we have at Marlington we call it the Mullen Center. It's just a big field house, just a big shell, but we can get 6 mats down, and so I just sent an email out to a dozen schools, said, hey, we're going to $75 entry fee. We're going to run 6 mats. We're going to run just rapid fire. We're going to pair them up. There's going to be we're just going to pair them up.
Yep.
And
Let them wrestle.
You know, I told coaches, I sent them a code of conduct for these events. I said, listen, there's no questioning calls. You don't go to the table. We are not going to, you know, if a score is wrong, we'll fix it. But that's it. We're not going to.
It's not for that.
And
nobody's winning a state title there.
And then so I believe it was Bruce Blasman, long retired assistant coach from Ravenna Southeast, was down there one night and said, you know, this is just probably about one level below the Iron Man. Maybe you should call this the Iron Boy. And,
I'll tell you what, it is
awesome.
great. What's the furthest school that comes on a weekly basis?
Wadsworth comes every week, but we have
there was some Youngstown schools.
Youngstown, Cheney.
Cheney. That's the one that I was thinking of.
Several schools up in Geauga County. Yeah, because they can't find JV tournaments.
No, I was just thinking, good for you, Coach.
It's awesome.
That's a special thing you're doing right there. You know, it really is.
Now here,
it's a lot of fun to coach at because there is nothing on the line. It's just getting the kids better. I remember chuckling at stats at one. His kid locked hands or something like 3 times. You know, JV wrestling completely.
It's
you know,
first time
and I'm
like,
I walked by and had some smart ass to say, of course. You know, I'm like, you know, I blame the coach for not putting him back on his feet. You know, or something like that. Right. You know, and it's just fun. You know.
Well, listen, this is one of the Iron Boys. I don't know if you know the official. His name is Joe Posderick. It's a great story he tells me afterwards one night. He goes, hey, I had a great story here. I said, what's that, Joe? He says, well, he said, I had a coach really chirping at me. I don't remember what about, stalling or something at the Iron Boy the other night. He says, and I walked by and I kind of glanced over and wagged my finger at him and said, Coach, if you got a problem, you got to take it to the table. He goes, I'm not allowed to go to the table. He goes, exactly.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, you are joining us here at Stark Media's live video broadcast of the Stark County Wrestling Preview. And with us here is one of the board members. I guess, you know, would you be considered a vice president, Kurt? I mean, how's that work?
We don't really have titles. So Don Turner is definitely the president. David Talarchik and I guess, are the vice president.
All right, so vice president, their co-vice president, Kurt Hamilton.
Nobody's ever given me that title.
No, we're giving it to you. You are now the co-vice president. And Kurt Hamilton, of course, one of the gentlemen that put this event on. This is year 3? 4?
I believe it's 4.
Okay.
We lost 1 year due to COVID. I think we had it in 2019. 21, 2, 3. This will be year 4 we've had it, yeah. Now, I got one more story about these Iron Boys, and this is my favorite one.
All right, bring it.
All right. My guys over here, you're gonna like this story about the Iron Boys.
Iron Boy story, boys.
Okay, here we go.
My son, he's wrestling at Lake Erie College now. He's a junior, but when he was a freshman, they have like a meet the team picnic or whatever, and we go up and they had Lake Erie had a kid named Chris Dredge from Austintown Fitch on the team. He was a returning All-American, took 8th in the country the year before, and so we're walking around and I'm meeting some of the guys, and I said, "You're Chris Dredge." I said, "Kurt Hamilton." I said, "I was coach at Marlington for a long time." He goes, "I know you." He says, "I wrestled on Iron Boy."
Oh, nice. That's
I said,
awesome.
Wait, you're a returning Division II All-American, and you wrestled on an Iron Boy. He says, "Yes, I did, my freshman year."
It's
I said,
such,
you know what?
yeah.
We've got to remember that. That kid was
Absolutely.
an Iron. I mean, he couldn't even sniff the varsity lineup as a freshman, maybe sophomore. He was an upper weight. Ends up being a Division II collegiate All-American.
That's awesome.
Great story.
Good
Great
testament.
story, Coach.
Good testament there.
Love it. Love it. So you say a retirement coming here very shortly for you. And so what's after that? Are we going to see a lot of fishing, golfing, or are you just going to be touring the country and going to wrestling matches?
Golfing. I golf a lot.
Okay.
I golf a lot, yeah. I still got about two full years of teaching left.
Sure.
And when I do retire, I have every intention of going back, just helping with the school in some way, shape, or form. I'll need the insurance.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what? Like I said, I'm blessed because, make no mistake, I like my June, July, and August. I like my weekends and holidays off, but I never, ever have dreaded going into school.
Yeah.
I'm going in tomorrow and looking forward to it.
Now we need dedicated teachers all the way around for our youth. That's for sure. So important. I retired in 2014. I can't believe it's been 9 years already. But when that time comes, don't fear it. I will tell you, man, embrace it. Just another phase of the journey, my friend. That's awesome. That is awesome. What do you think here, Sonny? I mean, is this something you think you want to work through the wrestling season? We brought Sonny on this year. He's one of our new recruits, and he's finding out how crazy some of those knuckleheads are. Of course, he knew Jamie was a knucklehead. So, yeah.
Yes, it is. It's nice being on this side. I love every aspect of the game, and it just came to me to where it was my turn to recycle. I got a boy who's starting his wrestling career. He's 7. He had his first win yesterday.
All right, Pops. There you go, buddy.
So super excited, but looking forward to just a different path, right?
Yeah,
path here.
And to kind of give you an idea, and maybe some people that are first-time listeners, to one of our broadcasts, when we have 6 mats going on all at once, we try to get some, multiple mats on the screen so you can kind of watch. When we do a tournament more like Top Gun or Iron Man or things like that, maybe the first day it's a little bit more like this. Then when we wind into the semis and into the finals, we zero in on the actual matches a little more seriously.
A little more one-on-one commentating.
Right. And then of course we do duels, and those are all business when it's dual meet time.
Potent business.
Well, for a while it seemed like the sport was getting away from, especially at the collegiate level, the duels and trying to go all tournaments. You get a little more bang for your buck, a little more matches for your time. But let's be honest, guys, in our sport, dual meets are what fans want to see. It's much more spectator friendly.
Right.
If you ask me, as much as I love wrestling, if I want to go to spend 12 hours on a Saturday to watch 2 or 3 kids that I know.
Yeah. Not everybody can do that.
I'm going to do it. But, that's a big commitment.
Right.
But you know what? If you say, hey, why don't you come watch your school in this big dual meet at 7 o'clock and it'll be done by 9 o'clock and the gym will be packed and people will be crazy, well, that's something that I want to go to.
Right.
And I think a lot of people understand that part as well. It's kind of the football theme, right? One versus the other. And as a spectator in the audience, it's probably a little more.
It's a difficult spectator sport.
Correct.
In certain
so
ways.
It's a little easier to maybe understand or just join a team. Even if you don't understand it, you could join one team or the other in the dual meet. Whereas in a tournament, it's just a little more individual, maybe a little tougher to follow team-wise. But as you
to a spectator, to us, it's seriously team-oriented. But not everybody can see that. Talking about bonus points and everybody, wins in the semis and everybody has to contribute. Those things that win tournaments. That's a little different to people like us that see it a little differently. But it is, like you said, it's not necessarily as user friendly in some of those things for for someone who's not an avid fan.
Well, guys, suiting up down here just in front of us, state champ there. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Aiden Faulkner putting on his uniform. He's going to get ready. I don't see the tape there that we saw last year.
No, he looks healed.
He's going to come into this season feeling good, ready to go, and You know, that's got to be exciting for you, Kurt, right? To see, some of these guys we watch here, and Sonny pointed this out. Not only are we going to see them in March, but, his anticipation of seeing some of these guys in college and even beyond, right? So pretty cool for you. I have to believe all these years watching these young men.
Well, wrestling is it's a little bit of a small, very, very tight-knit community, whether, amongst those of us who participate and coach and our fans. I know when I go to watch my son wrestle at these opens, I'll see guys that wrestle for Canfield or Jackson or they're wrestling now at Mount Union or Case Western or wherever. And I guess I'm an outgoing enough guy. I just go up, and if I ask them if they remember me, and I just tell them, hey, I'm glad to see you continuing the sport and continue to compete.
Absolutely.
Because I have the utmost respect for that.
Well, again, folks, session number 2 winding down here as the Stark County Preview 2023-24 edition coming to a close. Again, awful cool, Court. I thought having the women there highlighted on that opening mat. Of course, Alliance and Minerva are 2 larger Stark County women's team. But the guys and we were talking about, you look through the program, Perry now with their first women. Northwest is starting to grow their program. Art Kali doing a nice job over there. Obviously, as you know, coming from Jackson, we don't have our first young lady out, but I'm sure that time is going to come at some point here. So it's kind of cool to see the women's grow here.
One thing I'm happy to see, it seems like everyone around the county, their numbers are up. Our numbers, I look at the total number of guys we had on the rosters this year compared to 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we were just coming out of COVID, and COVID hit wrestling numbers hard. And we've rebounded well from that. And this year, I'd say we're at least back up to where we were. But where we're going to see the sport explode more than anywhere else in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be in girls wrestling.
Absolutely.
And that's something that we should all welcome, because as more and more colleges add women's wrestling, that gives them an opposite gender sport to keep men's wrestling. Men's wrestling has fallen to the hatchet too many times. And
good point.
And it doesn't. We don't have
they can parallel together now.
They can parallel together, and you stay within the restrictions of Title IX.
Correct.
And that's where we're going to see the explosion.
While continuing the men's growth as well,
absolutely.
Right? And the women is helping the men's growth with that.
We as longtime, men's coaches, boys coaches, we need to embrace it, because it's coming, and you need to be on the right side of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and as Jamie has pointed out, Kurt, and he believes, and I concur, I think Sonny the same. The women's, again, we talked a little bit about Art Kali coming out of Oregon. To him, he was a little shocked, being an Ohio person, that we weren't there yet. But as Jamie has said, he thinks that he believes, as we all do, that the quality of our women, it'll accelerate just because of the quality of our, men's wrestling that we have here in the state overall.
Absolutely. And we've got 3 schools now, I believe, maybe 4, that have separate dedicated women's coaches who, they run their own practices. They may be running concurrently with the boys, but, their job is they are the women's coach. And, that gives them ownership in the program.
Right. Well, and you talk ownership, we had Ryan Riggs on a little bit. Awful exciting. Number one, of course, Mount Union, the only college program in Stark County at this time. But, of course, starting their women's program as they brought down Wadsworth's head coach Clay Winger to start the women's program at Mount. So we're going to watch that grow and accelerate here over the years.
If you were going to start a women's college wrestling program, I don't know that there's a better place to start County, Ohio.
All right, folks, again, kind of washing out here. Kurt Hamilton, our guest here, as we begin to wrap up our Stark County preview here and get ready to kick off the season. Now, Sonny, you said, Perry has a match Thursday? Somebody was saying, maybe Jamie was talking about that. Perry
actually football Thursday. There's a state championship.
Yeah, I know, but I think there was a tri match. Somebody said Perry, St. V, and Jamie, was that you were saying?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I guess I didn't either, but
could be a scrimmage.
Okay, that's possible.
Matches won't start until the week after.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't think matches. There was a delineation date of official when you could actually compete live, so maybe that is more of another scrimmage type of event. So
that'd be a good one.
That would be a good one.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. some good wrestling down here. I've been watching all the way around on every mat.
Uh-huh.
Well, gentlemen, I've got to head back down. We're
All
gonna be
right.
winding up here.
Well, again, thank you.
Hey, it was a pleasure to have you guys here. And to let me
Absolutely.
get a
Thank you
chance
for
to chat
everything
with
you do.
Pleasure.
You're the best,
Truly
brother.
my pleasure.
You're
Thank
the
you,
best.
guys.
All right, there
Thanks
you go,
for having
folks. One of the co-vice president, Kurt Hamilton of the Stark County Scholarship Organization. Again, the scholarship giving away over $400,000. Started in 1979. Kurt shared with us that year they gave one $200 scholarship away, and through that time, again, many young men and women, some of our statisticians, receiving help to get them through college. So hats off to all those guys.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think
What else can you do on a Monday?
I'm with you,
what
brother.
Monday night? What else can you do? You got
No.
hundreds and hundreds of people in here.
It's awesome.
You know,
Enjoying some
It's
wrestling.
awesome.
enjoying some wrestling.
And it's not super. It's a preview. It's
Yeah.
more of a live scrimmage.
The crowd has
You
been
know,
great. You
yeah.
can tell it's a preview. There's not as much intense maybe from the crowd.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, on the mat they're trying to all win,
Yeah.
but
The mom. You don't have to
Right.
hold the moms back yet.
wasn't sure we're gonna go there, but yes, right. It's just
Hey, let's
not-
call it what it is.
Oh boy,
It's
I'll-
just
I talked.
there
to the,
goes
I
half
talked-
our
I
viewership.
talked to that. No, they'll be here. No, the moms will be here watching. You don't have to worry about them. But I did mention to the Glen Oak coach on my way out to the restroom. I did tell him, I was like, hey, we were all really impressed with your team, the way they were. None of them were sitting down. They stood. They cheered like animals for each other. They really wanted to see each other succeed, and that's such a. I mean, you can see there's a unity, there's a bond in that room.
well, if you want to get the ladies back, Jim, on the broadcast and viewing here.
You gonna come out in a Speedo?
No, not at all. They
Come
would
on,
leave.
brother.
They would leave.
You look like you go right back on the mat there, big dog.
But you know, there's nothing like an intense wrestling mom.
Oh no, yeah,
I tell you what, they're the toughest.
yeah.
They're the toughest out there.
Yep.
Shout out to all the wrestling moms out there. Thank you
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for what
and
they have to put
foremost-
up with, right?
for everything. Because
My mom was a bus driver. She
mine
would
was
take
too.
me to the match. Yeah, your mom
my
was
mom,
too.
yeah,
They would take me to the match, and she would be like, "You're lucky I didn't have to pay for that.
most
You know,
times
you better wrestle tougher next
yeah,
time."
I was more scared of my mom.
It's a good thing I got paid to be here. If you're going to go out and wrestle
So-
like that,
I can back Jamie on that when he says he's not kidding. You can tell it's not for real yet.
Yeah.
But big shout out, thank you. You know, you couldn't have it without him. I know that.
no,
And
yeah,
we
yeah.
wouldn't want it without him
No.
because that just makes the sport that much more fun.
Well, like I said, at last year we grabbed Josh Carmen's mom and threw her on air. You know, at Top Gun, and how that was so fun, just getting the mom's perspective.
Right.
Because I mean, anybody can grab coaches and grab wrestlers, but for her to talk to us about what it's like to watch her son not eat Thanksgiving with everybody like everybody else does, and just to hear a mom's perspective,
Awesome.
it's really cool. And I want to do more of that as we go through this as well.
I'm starting to hear him now because we got a pin down here right in front of
Yeah,
us,
a little-
trying to get down.
Little head and arm there, action. Little thump.
Yep,
This is Scott Friel's son.
pretty intense. Yeah,
We just had Terry's son Christian, and this is Scott's son Sullivan.
Yeah.
Sully Friel here.
Well, talking about moms, Jamie, how about last year at the state tournament?
Oh
right?
my goodness,
Yeah, Sonny.
Lebanon.
Yeah, we had a mom from Lebanon, and she was parked right in front of our
She leaned
broadcast
right
area.
between us and
Yeah.
screamed like she was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could seriously headsets
really
on. We
believed-
could
she
not hear each
really believed that she made an impact on the match.
other. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And then the tough part about it was one would come off, and another would be like, "All right, she's gone." Boop, and when
Yeah.
another one like, "Oh, geez."
Oh yeah, like they wrestled. Lebanon wrestled like 9 matches right in a row, right in front of us, and she screamed her ass off. And I'm telling you, like I told her, I walked up to her the next day, and I was like, you ruined our entire broadcast, right? Like just busting her chops. I'm Facebook friends with her. It's not out of the realm of possibility that she may see this.
That's okay. Because the intensity I appreciate, right? Maybe not the position where she was standing,
Right.
Uh,
No, yeah.
but I tell you what, the intensity.
No, the passion.
You're
that
not
she
going to
had.
change her, nor probably
No,
move her.
no, yeah.
Nor move her.
No.
Maybe nor should you, but yeah.
It would have
you know,
just been
it's-
nice to have them sprinkled around on a couple of different mats.
Yes, a little common courtesy goes a long way.
Yeah, there are 12 mats down there or something crazy, you know? That was a lot of fun.
No, absolutely.
That ruined TJ for that. TJ was so dumbfounded by that. She was screaming, bloody murder, dude. She was screaming so hard, right, like leaning in between us. And I'm just like, it was crazy.
It was another level. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Every gym has one.
Well, again, folks, night here winding up. Looking on the far mat there, we see Minerva and Northwest wrapped up the evening. So, again, we really appreciate all the help out there. The young men and women will start rolling mats up, I'm assuming, on that far side is the night, again, here coming to a close.
You know what, guys? I need to mention that obviously we've talked about how good the Maslin Perry program is. Every time I look down here, these Marlington kids are in scraps with them. They've wrestled pretty tough. They've had a great showing today. It's not easy to walk out and wrestle those guys week 2.
That program's came a long way as well.
Yeah, they had some tough kids when I was in school, then they really didn't for a while. And it's just a testament to what the Iron Boy does. It's in Marlington, and just build those guys underneath them.
And you know what, James? Well, excuse me. We'll have to try to get out there and maybe do it at
I'm a huge believer in that. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. Yeah. I think we should go out there and at least give them a little bit of love. I know we didn't get much youth. We talked about wanting to do a youth event. I think that's something that we need to get in the books this year to try to get the youth. Because I think what that'll do is again, it'll solidify, what our mission is here at Stark Media, the combat division, as well as, create some new followers for us through the years, right? I mean, we're going to be around a while, we hope. And we want you right there beside us enjoying the sport that we love so much.
The one thing I think about right now towards the end, right, it's kind of coming to a close, is these young men and women now have to go study because they do have school tomorrow, right? I mean, I assume it's a Monday night.
Yep.
They have, I would assume most of them have school
tomorrow. North Canton didn't have school today, so they'll have.
Everybody goes back tomorrow.
But either way, that's just what makes this so tough. It's a Monday night. What is it, 8:30 right now, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. This young man just getting his hand raised, coming off the mat. Just a testament to all around. That's why I do love the sport so much, because I know how tough and grueling, and the respect to have for all these young people here.
Absolutely.
Right?
No, absolutely.
Most of them have to go home, probably crack a book for an hour,
right?
At 9 o'clock,
right?
Till 10
may or may not
10:30.
have dinner before they got here, right?
Probably didn't have dinner. I assume some of them, most of them. So just a grueling. I just want to give a good testament to all these young men and women here tonight. Good job. Just overall good job.
Absolutely. Well, James, you talked about Marlington, just to drift back there. When I was coming in, they were one of the first buses that came in. And guys, I'll tell you what, it was really cool. All in their warm-ups, followed single file line, nothing, no jack slapping jacket around. I mean, they came in even previous. You could tell they were here for business.
Always serious, the first ones out.
They were here for some business. Absolutely. Well, we'll have to find out whether or not he won the 50-50.
He needs to make it to January 1st.
Thank you.
All right, Jamie saying goodbye to his family there. And brother Tommy Fausnight, great guy. We try to get Tommy on air, but I don't understand, James. That guy is not mic shy. He's like a professional, semi-professional comedian, isn't he?
He's actually hasn't done anything for a while. I was giving him a hard time. Yeah, he did that for about a year, and then he, he teaches. So when he got into the school season, it kind of fell off. I keep getting on him to get back out there because, us two Fausnights, I can speak for us two. We've never met a microphone we were afraid of, or now, so he's the stereotypical wrestler guy, so he would, he wanted to do some comedy. Now, did he want to be famous from it or nothing?
Sure.
Yeah, but it was something he wanted to experience. So, he practiced in front of the mirror like 10 times a day, and how we do it, he grinded, and then he would go up there, and he did great. There were multiple times. Here's the good one. Okay, ready for this? My brother was in a competition, right? And they had to do 2 sets. One set was clean, and one set was allowed to be
dirty.
right?
Right.
Bad language.
Right.
My brother's on the ride home with me, and he goes, Jamie, I was killing it, and in the clean one, and I accidentally dropped an F-bomb. And you know what he said? He goes, I locked hands. I locked hands. His association, his analogy was completely, I locked hands with 30 seconds to go.
And that makes sense to me right now.
Right, exactly.
I swear. I mean, that's locking hands all day.
Right? And it was just so funny. So priceless.
That's
I knew exactly what he meant, too.
I did, too, right away.
Was he disqualified because
Yes.
of that? Really?
Yeah, and he was doing really well.
It was overtime.
Yeah.
Overtime,
Locked
locked
hands.
hands.
Overtime.
Yeah,
You
he
can't
locked
do
hands
that.
in overtime.
Oh,
Man.
Great story.
Good call.
I'm going to have to tell him he needs to listen to that. We were giving him the business.
I love it.
Oh, man.
Where are we at next? Or where are you guys at next?
Well,
or
I think you are with us, brother.
You
There's
got
no
it.
you guys. You are the
This was a
guys with
trial
us.
run.
So I
Is it
believe
okay?
our next. Oh, absolutely. I like again. I hope you had fun. I think you did a great job.
Yeah,
It'd be great to have you on our team here. No, I think our next event, guys, we will be at the Ironman. I believe that will be the next
What's the date on that?
December 10th, 8th, 9, and 10.
Okay.
Or 9,
Now,
10,
I
11.
won't be there because my son will be wrestling out of town. And then the week after that, we have the fight night at the Canton Civic Center.
Mm-hmm.
And then the week after that, we'll be at the North Canton Holiday.
Wow.
So
So,
now
it-
fight
great
night, as
venues.
TJ said, are we broadcast? Are you
I believe
broadcast?
so.
Okay.
Yeah. Last I heard, I actually bumped into the guy that he was talking about. His son plays football for Lake.
Right.
And I was at the Lake playoff game taking pictures of the tailgating. I was excited to see a little bit of that Massillon and Lake game. And he pulled me aside and was like, you're with Stark Media. We want you to be a part of this. It wasn't like something that we were really pushing. They want us to come and do the broadcast ringside.
Well, that's what you
throw
guys
down.
did the last year.
We never did.
You
We
guys,
never did any fights.
Well, meaning you guys did something that
Combat.
I want to say it's expected because you guys did such a good job that even guys like that, even myself, thought, well, this is it. All right, this is what's going on now. There's broadcasting, there's commentating. This is real.
Yeah.
And I think you guys just brought a different element and a fun one, and this is just going to grow as you guys have built.
I think you're right, Sonny. I really do. And I'll tell you the area that I've really talked to TJ about, and we've really been asked about, is Division II, Division III wrestling. The college level. They don't have much. I'm going to say love, they do, but yet coverage of that kind of stuff, and I told TJ, I think that's really an avenue we could benefit and help from.
For sure, and I can give a little talk, especially with the Division II, being a former D2 college coach, head coach. And that's one thing that, I did suggest actually, because I thought the talent, within the D2 and D3 pool is just gotten so good.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's just gotten so good that we really need some qualified commentators that can push and grow the sport there, right? So the more, those other divisions, they're not the primary, are getting the love like this. Those guys are they're kicking butt.
And I'll tell you, like we were just saying about, being able to have the opportunity to help bring this to a viewer. The gentleman just stopped me and he was like, "This is broadcast, or where can I watch this? Where can I watch this?" I'm Stark Media Team, man. You just go to YouTube. And what's cool about it is, we talked about it last year. It's every kid in the county.
Yeah.
You coaches. I know that I went to Stark Media stuff and watched some of my son's opponents, before he wrestled Jackson or somebody like that. The coaches can see other kids, and we're here to help grow the sport.
Yeah.
It's not Connor Stallion stuff, but the coaches can come in and watch some of their opponents just from Stark Media.
Well, I think the cool thing too with the guys is the fact that grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend from years that can't get to a match have now the ability to log on, like you said, watch it, have some commentary with it. I tell you what, really enjoyed doing that Cleveland State Iowa State match.
It was awesome.
It was more of a radio. We weren't allowed the video because of
apparently UFC Fight Pass pulled strings over us.
Yeah, they had all the rights, all the video rights.
Wow.
So
that was a big goal.
We're coming. That's a big enemy.
Yeah, we're coming.
That was a good duel to have in Ohio.
Yeah,
right?
it was
Bringing
awesome.
Iowa State in, and I went to Iowa State for a minute, and the talent that is there, is unbelievable.
Oh, we were rattling off there.
Obviously, David Clark.
Well, I mean, but what was cool is I know Cleveland State, young team, not where they want to be yet.
Right.
But what was really cool there is you had Ben Smith, North Canton grad. You had Ronnie Dimmerling, Glen Oak grad.
Yep.
You had the Lions boy out of Worcester.
Yep.
So you had some, guys
Some
from
local
our
kids.
area right there on the mat, and
Yep.
and I was just awesome.
What's funny is it was a home duel for Cleveland State. They brought a big crowd, and they were amped and they were getting after it. But
And they were coming. Josh Moore is not going to take a back seat to nobody.
right,
Not at all. So,
and that was a good measuring stick early in the season.
Great competitor. He knows where he's at. He knows what he's got to do, and he always does a phenomenal job there at Cleveland State.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, wrapping up the night here at North Canton High School as the Stark County preview wrestling event is coming to a close. Again, hats off to the staff that put that together. Of course, Don Turner, longtime one of the founding members there of the Stark County Scholarship Association, Kurt Hamilton, Nick Gamble, Dave Talarchik, Jim Laughlin, and Skip Laughlin, all members there working to, create this event, number one, and then at the end of the year to have just a phenomenal banquet. We were there last year, guys, as you remember, chance to talk to coaches, talk to athletes.
Yeah, that was a cool experience.
And we're going to be there again, I'm sure, and, have that opportunity. But again, to give away over $400,000 to our athletes, statisticians in this sport to help them get through college. Hats off to all of them.
Such a great cause, and like I said, when you do it at the beginning, it raises more money than you do it at the end, and then just like 3 kids. Well, what is it? Like 6 kids per weight class instead of the whole teams. You know.
No, absolutely.
Well, it's going, direct to use right there.
Yep.
That's a great part when they raise funds and money for.
It was started here, and it's cool that it. This is where we get to wrestle it. This is a venue that knows how to put mats down real quick.
Right.
And what's cool about this is there were all kinds of people helping. If you looked out there, it's not like our holiday tournament where we lay out the mats the night before. There were coaches from every team. I think that mat over there got rolled up by the teams that got done there.
I think so, yep. Far side guys, I see Jackson and Louisville have wrapped it up for the evening. So Coach Coleman and Coach Hepner will go back and prepare their troops for the season ahead.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. It was first time being at a preview here, and I definitely like what I see, and I see why they did it.
Yeah, wait till you see districts in the holiday tournament. The holiday tournament is tougher than when we were in it. Now the years when your brother and before, that was a little different. But I'll tell you what, it's not like that. Our gym was so small we could only get 20 teams. We did get 20 bangers, but what we have here, we have 36 teams, and it's a tough. You want to see where you were at in first couple weeks of the season. It can be an eye opener, or it can be something that catapults your whole rest of maybe your junior season. You take a 6th place at something like that.
North Canton tournament's always been one of the top leading tournaments for high school. Even back in our day, like you said, it was tough. So I can imagine where it is right now.
Out of states. Well, we always had Wheeling Park was always here. They're here. Huntington, West Virginia. Holt, Michigan's come. We had Canton, PA one year. They were freaking real.
Home of Mark Angle.
Yeah. They had we've had some pretty solid teams. Obviously, always Wadsworth is amazing.
And just the local teams that are within there are unbelievable.
Well, looking down, guys, it looks like Perry and Marlington have wrapped it up. I don't know. I was waiting to watch Mr. Faulkner wrestle, but
I think we missed it.
Yeah.
I don't think he wrestled for very long.
I think it went pretty quick.
Hey, Jimmy B, I think we got to give our electric performer to Sonny Marchette today.
I agree with that. Our electric performer
we give out an
of
electric
the night. I like
for
that.
Everybody, the Hillshire Clark electric performer.
That's
and
right.
Since we chopped it up the whole time and paid attention to very little wrestling, I think it'll go to you on your first broadcast with us, my brother.
I'll take it.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Nah, man, well
you guys
deserved.
are awesome.
Well deserved. Well, Looking down there, and I don't see TJ, but I'll tell you what, Jamie, we'll just kind of run it through here, kind of wrap it up for the night. Jamie, your thoughts here as we finish tonight and look forward to the season?
Well, like I said, this wasn't something that we came here to really like pick apart technique and things like that. It was just a showing, a 3 1-minute periods with all the teams in Stark County. It's such a great way to raise money for scholarships, and it's a great way to come out and get together. When you get to Columbus and all of a sudden you've been that guy that you were the only kid on the team there, and then all of a sudden there's a Louisville kid that you can work out with. These kids train together all year. It's a great time to get everybody together and see each other. It's just a great way to get the season started.
All right, Sonny, what are your thoughts here as we wrap up the night?
I think it did exactly what the name states, which is a preview, right? So we got a great preview tonight. Got to get a chance to see top local talent, top local teams, and just a great atmosphere. I like the preview.
Yep.
It's a little less stressful, right?
Yep.
Which is nice. Like you said, it's not a direct shot per mat. It's a preview. So, and that's kind of what they did, exactly what they advertised. It was a great preview. You got a good chance to see all the areas,
every team in the county.
Yeah, so I was impressed. I really liked it. I appreciate you guys having me here.
No, we appreciate you joining the Stark Media team, my friend. It's going to be a great season. And again, folks, if you want to pick up any of the wrestling action, again, you'll find live events. Sometimes we'll be on YouTube. We'll try to make sure we get that out to you. Other than that, you'll want to go to starkmedia.tkdssports.com. That's where you'll find there's 3 channels there. I do believe we're going to be running multiple channels this year. Give you a chance to see multiple events throughout the season. Well, TJ, I guess, is not going to be here to sign us off. So that said, for TJ Downing, Jamie Fausnight, and our newest team member, great to have him here, Sonny Marchette. This is Jimmy B, thanking each and every one of you for joining us tonight. Have a great evening, and God bless.
The hardest part was getting your ass from the car to the gym.
Dude, nobody has a clue about. I'm like,
He walked in the door like this, and I'm like, "Are you good?" He's like, "No, absolutely not."